Chapter 2079 One Palm. Chapter 2079 One Palm. When the dark-faced man saw that he couldn't see through Yi Mo's cultivation level, he didn't speak any tough words and just sent out a messenger flying sword with a frown. Yi Mo didn't seem to see this and stared at the two older truth realization states. I set up a cultivation home next to the Tuomi border. Did one of you attack it and then call a partner over? Yi Mo's tone was calm, but there was extreme pressure. The truth realization states instantly felt that. Now, they realized why Yi Mo talked so cockily and the dark-faced man sent a messenger flying sword. Dao friend set up the cultivation home? The gray-robed truth realization state asked in shock. Yi Mo sneered but said nothing. The two truth realization states didn't dare to say anything. Hong Yi was spoiled, but she wasn't dumb. She realized how far the gap between her and Yi Mo was. She just glanced at Lu Zhai. She didn't understand how this ordinary-looking woman was favored by Yi Mo. Brother Yi, this dark-faced man, is probably the small wolf king. It said there are two wolf kings in the Tuomi mountain ranges. One is big, one is small. Both are very powerful. Lu Zhai's voice was quiet, but it didn't escape the man's ears. He sneered before she finished. Not bad. That's right, I'm the small wolf king. He then looked at Yi Mo. You killed One-Eyed and set up a formation, making me unable to retrieve his body. I believe you're a powerful being, but I want to know why you killed One-Eye. Although he was kicked out of the Wolf King Valley, he's of Wolf King blood. If you don't have enough reason, this thing won't end here. The four truth realization states heard this and couldn't help feel annoyed. They asked why the man attacked, but he couldn't even be bothered replying. But now, this little Wolf King learned to reason. Yi Mo knew that even if the stone spears were forcefully removed, the one-eyed wolf body would split apart. No one in the cultivation realm could take away the entire body, but he was annoyed someone took it. My friend was only Golden Core State, and yet she was chased to the edge of the snow plains 50 years ago and died in the snow plains. Do you think I will let this go after just killing in one eye? Just as you said, this won't end here. Yi Mo's tone was bleak. 50 years ago, One-Eyed was level 6 peak stage. You're telling me that a level 6 peak stage spirit beast would hunt a Golden Core State and hunt all the way to the snow plains? The king shall see how you won't end this here today. The man was careful, but he had been respected for a long time. Even truth realization state cultivators didn't dare to speak to him loudly, and yet he was threatened by Yi Mo like this. How could he take it? 50 years ago, that one-eyed wolf chased me and Wan Xing. It wasn't very fast at the time. We used a speed rune and barely made it to the snow plains. Lu Zhai rebuked. Bullshit, the king. Before the man finished, Yi Mo waved his hand in the air, and this dark-faced man was slapped out tens of teeth. Seeing this man sit on the ground with half of his face bloodied and looking at him in terror, Yi Mo said coldly, calling yourself king in front of me? You're too young. Do you know why I haven't killed you yet? Because I heard there was a big wolf king of the Wolf King Valley. The dark-faced man stared at Yi Mo in shock. He was a level 10 wolf king. Even the strongest person on Xinxiang continent can't slap him away in one palm like a fly. This difference was the difference between heaven and earth. The four truth realization states stared at Yi Mo in shock. What power was this? Hong Yi reacted first. Her eyes were shining with light. She had forgotten about how Yi Mo told her to piss off. She had made up her mind that no matter what she would get Yi Mo. At this moment, a messenger flying sword came. Just when the Wolf King wanted to grab it, he found that flying sword turn and fall into Yi Mo's hands. The Wolf King crawled up and looked dazedly at Yi Mo, but didn't dare to talk nor run off. Yi Mo's palm made him wake up. He was certain that Yi Mo's power was much higher than truth realization state peak stage. His power was beyond the realm suppression of the cultivation realm. Yi Mo glanced at this flying sword and then gave it back to the Wolf King. Big Wolf King asked you to invite me to your home. Lead the way, my patience is limited. Yes, the Wolf King didn't dare to say an extra word. Yi Mo turned to Lu Zhai and said, I'm going to the wolf home. If you want to join a sect, go to Lotus Glory sect. I know Elder Guangjie from there. Tell her I let you go, and tell her to take you in as disciple. After I'm done with things here, I will go to Lotus Glory sect. Lu Zhai suppressed her excitement and said, "Thank you, Brother Yi. Lu Zhai will go there first." After seeing Yi Mo's power, she immediately knew that with Yi Mo's power, no matter how unfamiliar he was with the place, there was no way he would suffer. After Yi Mo went into the depth with the Wolf King, the rest of the truth realization states came up to greet Lu Zhai, a nascent soul cultivator. They were even sucking up to her. Other cultivators didn't dare to use flying magic artifact in the Tuolmi mountain ranges, but the Wolf King dared to. He was the Wolf King here. No high-level spirit beast would dare to raid him. The Wolf King flew the magic artifact extremely fast, probably because he was too scared of EMO and wanted to bring the news back to the Wolf King Valley first. But no matter how fast he was, EMO always followed behind him. What shocked him was that EMO didn't use any flying magic artifact. He was just walking in air and still kept up with him. Half a day later, a green mountain valley appeared before EMO, seeing the Wolf King land. EMO knew this was Wolf King Valley. Only such place would have this dense spirit chi. It was no lesser than his MOU city. He set many spirit ranges below it. "Qianbei, please go in," the Wolf King said respectfully. A path stretched into the quiet valley. The low-level spirit beasts on the side looked at the Wolf King, just like how the Wolf King looked at Yi Mo's spirit sense landed on the side of the valley. It was a natural formation, and there was a defense formation nearing level 1 immortal formation. It was extremely hard to set up immortal formation in the cultivation realm, as there was no immortal crystals. Even extreme Great Spirit range can't support immortal formation. The Tuolmi mountain ranges wasn't big, but there clearly was reason why the Wolf King chose their home here. After crossing the Green Valley, Yemo saw a patch of grand palaces. In the middle of these, there was a blue palace. "Is Puna back?" A voice sounded from the main palace. Yemo's spirit sense saw that it was a bulky man speaking too, but his hair was blue like the palace. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2080 New God AR. Chapter 2080 New God AR. You killed one eye. As soon as EMO and Puna came in, a coarse voice sounded while a dark ray shot at EMO. The dark-faced man was shook and quickly went up and stopped that dark ray while palming out. The dark ray was shot out by an incompletely morphed wolf beast. Wolf head and human body. He was palmed by Puna and immediately flipped a few times before smashing on the pole. "Puna, what are you doing?" The blue-haired man roared. "Young Wolf King, what are you doing?" The wolf beast also roared. Puna didn't seem to hear the two and said to Yemo respectfully, "Qianbei, this is One Eye's father. If Qianbei wants revenge, I can kill him immediately." "What did you say?" The blue-haired man got up in fury as blue Sha Chi surrounded him. He was the big Wolf King, and Puna dared to ignore him and be this cocky. Yemo sneered. Did he think he would let them go like this? He didn't need Puna to do it. Just when he was about to kill the half-wolf, half-human, Yemo's face suddenly changed and looked up at the sky. An extremely powerful chi landed from the void. Yemo burned his essence chi and used instant transmission without hesitation. Rumble! A huge palm landed, and the entire Tuolmi mountain ranges was palmed, a terrifying deep hole by this hand. All spirit beasts and cultivators within the range turned to dust. Lu Jia and them who just left were swept flying by that force and heavily injured. They didn't dare to stop at all. The Wolf King Valley, at the forefront of this, was completely annihilated. With this palm, volcanoes, floods, and mountain slides erupted everywhere on Xinjiang continent. Countless mountains and sites crumbled due to this palm. Yemo was a Tao-molding divine emperor. How could he not know that it was definitely a divine emperor who made this palm? It was probably a Tao nourishment divine emperor. This palm didn't even use 1% of instant second full power. At this moment, Yemo realized nothing in the cultivation realm can attract a divine emperor. The only thing that could was the branch of the chaos tree. When he gave the branch to Wanqing, he removed his chi, and this definitely let a powerful being notice. As for the chaos tree chi, it wasn't rare for it to be sensed by divine emperor through a few realms. Lu Jingquan sealed the chaos tree seed in a place in the cultivation realm and sent someone there to guard it, and then sealed the entire cultivation realm fearing that the qi would be spilled. Of course, this was with Kaimi teaching him. Lu Jingquan himself wouldn't be able to seal cultivation realm. After realizing this, Yemo kept using instant transmission. He knew that powerful being didn't use full power for that palm, or the entire cultivation realm wouldn't be able to take it. He must not be sealed on this continent by that powerful being, or Shunxiong continent was over. He was heavily injured, but he was still a divine emperor. It would be strange if any piece of a cultivation realm could remain if two divine emperors fought in it. Yemo couldn't care about his wounds and kept using transmissions like crazy. Although he didn't have time to dedicate to recovery, his cultivation level recovered quickly with the help of the chaos tree. Yemo didn't even think and tore open the void of the continent and dashed out. He wanted to wait till his power recovered and find Ming Qi and visit Lotus Glory Sect, and then find a way to go back to Luoyu continent. But now he couldn't care. He just dashed into the endless void. Yemo knew that although it seemed easy to tear open the void of the cultivation realm, but it wasn't that easy tearing the void from a mortal realm to cultivation realm. He didn't understand how this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor came from the immortal realm to the cultivation realm. If it was that easy, he would have come down ages ago. After going into the void, Yemo immediately called out the chaos tree and purposely released its qi. Then he put away the chaos tree and dashed away. As a cultivator, Yemo can also be very selfish when his interests were at stake, but he had his bottom line. He couldn't use the entire Shunxiong continent as a shield. If that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor couldn't find his qi, he might instantly crush the Shunxiong continent and find his qi amongst there. He didn't need to worry about destroying the chaos tree. If it was that easily destroyed, it wouldn't be the #1 tree in the universe. It's not an ordinary truth realization state cultivator, and he escaped from my palm. A white-faced man appeared at the Wolf King Valley rubbles and murmured. But after this, he looked at the direction Yemo disappeared and murmured, "Interesting. You're not a cultivation realm cultivator, and you can easily tear the void here. You want to draw me into the void? As you wish then. So what if you're already a divine emperor? I'll let you know what a true Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor is. A small immortal like you don't deserve the chaos tree." Then, the man just dashed into the void without needing to tear with his hands. At this moment, Xinjiang continent was still crippling everywhere. The world laws were on the verge of breaking. A cultivation realm law couldn't withstand a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor who didn't hold back his power at all. Once the realm laws broke here, the Xinjiang continent would be on the verge of destruction and perhaps become a place like the god Necropolis domain. After the man disappeared, the world laws slowly recovered. When Yemo went into the void, he immediately released Space-Time Boat. After flying for 5 minutes, Yemo gave the Space-Time Boat to Shadowless and told him to run. He quickly went into the Golden Page world to recover. If he was fully recovered, how could he be scared of a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor? Even if a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor came, he would let him have it. A gray-robed figure dashed into the void, and just when he was about to grab Yemo, he saw Yemo release a flying magic artifact and instantly disappeared. Low-grade flying god artifact? The man was dazed and chased up. Half a day later, he could only follow the space-time boat from a distance. The man cursed, "Just give me a flying immortal artifact, and I would have caught you already." He was furious. He didn't have anything on him, not even a crystal. A month later, Yemo came out of the time formation disk. He felt he didn't recover that well in the time formation disk. It ran for a month, but he only recovered half his injuries. Yemo knew this was because his power involved world laws. The time formation disk only had time law and could no longer satisfy him. Yemo asked Shadowless. Although they couldn't shake the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor off, the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor couldn't catch up to them. Yemo ignored that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor and set up a spirit gathering formation with god crystals and sat on a god spirit range to recover. Time flew by. Without using the time formation disk, Yi Mo's injuries recovered extremely. Another month passed, and Yi Mo had completely recovered. His cultivation level returned to Tao molding Divine Emperor. He didn't completely wake up, but he felt a new Tao law. It was samsara law. It was obscure but had a framework in his mind. A life-crippling bridge formed in his will, and below, it was the life-crippling river. He recovered every step he took on the bridge. Each step seemed to represent his every life print. Just when he was about to be swept away by In Shi, he seemed to see his own samsara. This was the samsara he was about to enter into. Life-crippling void will samsara. These things circulated around Yi Mo, forming a clear whirlpool. Yi Mo suddenly lifted his hand and released this whirlpool. It appeared as though time was flowing back in the golden page world. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2081 Battle Truth Divine Emperor. Chapter 2081 Battle Truth Divine Emperor. Font big, middle small, previous index. Next add bookmarks. However, before that chi could completely explode, that feeling disappeared from Yi Mo. Yi Mo opened his eyes with dissatisfaction. He knew that he didn't have enough foundation and couldn't completely learn this time samsara god art. He only learned less than half. It was due to his own cultivation level that he couldn't keep learning it. Who knew when he would have such enlightenment next time? Yi Mo dashed out of the golden page world and looked at Shadowless. Have I been in solitary cultivation for more than half a year? Boss, it's almost a year, but don't worry, even if we run for another year, that guy wouldn't be able to catch up to us. Shadowless gloated. Yi Mo slapped over. My power has recovered. Do we need to run for another year? It's just a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. I can even beat a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Yes, it's that guy's misfortune that he chased after, boss. Shadowless waved his tail. Boss, when are we going after that Hun Tian Pan dragon fruit? I heard Small Ginseng say that thing is the best for making wine. Chiu Rang and Small Ginseng said it many times, so I had to come ask boss. After things here are done, we'll go? Yi Mo knew that Shadowless desperately wanted to increase his power. Yi Mo let Shadowless go into the golden page world and slowed the space-time boat down. If it wasn't for the Chaos Tree, Truth Divine Emperor would have long stopped chasing. But thinking about the Chaos Tree, Truth Divine Emperor was on fire. He wasn't going to stop even if he chased for decades or a century. He had changed his mindset. He was in no rush to catch up to Yi Mo. He was going to get close to it slowly. After a year, he found that he was getting closer. If he continued at this pace, in just 10 years he could catch up, and he knew it might even be less than 10 years, as the space-time boat probably burned a huge number of immortal crystals. Just when he set his mind, he found that the space-time boat slowed. Truth Divine Emperor was confused for a moment and just rejoiced. He thought he would need to chase for a decade, but in just a year, that guy couldn't keep running. At this moment, he sped up. A huge planet appeared in Yi Mo's spirit sense, and he was planning to go there to battle. Regardless if this planet had life, Yi Mo stopped and stood on an asteroid that flew over. Half a minute later, Truth Divine Emperor appeared before Yi Mo. Haha. I finally caught up to you. Kid, give me the Chaos Tree. The Emperor shall give you a quick death. Truth Divine Emperor laughed. Yi Mo looked calmly at Truth Divine Emperor. We can discuss that later. Tell me how you came from the immortal realm to the cultivation realm. I used a lot of means to come from over there. It seems I overestimated you. I thought you were a divine emperor, but you're a mere immortal emperor. You can cross to the cultivation realm and not have your cultivation level restricted. That's very amazing. If I'm not wrong, you probably mastered a law. Truth Divine Emperor calmed down and praised Yi Mo. Yi Mo didn't answer. He was waiting for Truth Divine Emperor to answer him. Even an immortal emperor who mastered a law can't completely hide the chaos world unless you're the Chaos Tree's master, or you have a Woolard with all 5 elements, or you have a chaos world. Truth Divine Emperor's eyes shot out with beam. Before Divine Tao rebirth, he had the best things amongst the divine emperors in the immortal realm, but even he didn't have chaos world. You talk a lot of useless shit. I asked how you came down from the immortal realm. Yi Mo really couldn't contain himself anymore. If it wasn't that he wanted to know how this divine emperor came down from the immortal realm, he would have attacked already. Immortal realm? Ha! Truth divine emperor laughed. For the immortal realm, I burned my life and immortal essence to kill that divine Tao powerful being who came, but the sly bunch in the immortal realm ambushed me. I should be grateful to them. If they didn't break the immortal realm barrier together, I wouldn't be able to charge out of the immortal realm with me essence spirit. Yemo immediately realized who this person was and asked, "So you're Truth Divine Emperor, the #1 Divine Emperor of the immortal realm?" "That's right. I'm Truth Divine Emperor." Truth Divine Emperor said pridefully. Yemo came from the immortal realm. It wasn't strange that Yemo knew his name. Then he glanced at Yemo. "I'm amazed that a mere immortal emperor like you can come to the cultivation realm and ignore the world law suppression. If the world law couldn't suppress a powerful being, then the world law may cripple at any time. But if the suppression worked, then even the most powerful being would have to be suppressed in the cultivation realm. You body and essence spirit was destroyed, but you completely recovered?" Yemo asked in shock. He was amazed that Truth Divine Emperor didn't lose any power after reviving. Truth Divine Emperor said coldly, "If you think that the ghost spirit ships are my true soul, then stop. I was hunted by those sly bunch. Would I leave my essence spirit in the immortal realm? If it wasn't for the divine Tao realm powerful being battle, even if a few divine emperors attacked me, the immortal realm barrier might not be broken. I can only say that the heavens didn't want me to die. As soon as I rebirthed, I sensed my immortal carnage tower. After I take the chaos tree, I'll go back and key my tower. You felt the immortal carnage tower in the immortal realm?" Yemo was suddenly sweating cold. He had known from Su Jingwen that the tower was in Yemo's hands. If Truth Divine Emperor sensed it in the immortal realm, it meant that Yemo had ascended. If the Truth Divine Emperor wasn't drawn over by the chaos tree then, Yemo didn't dare to keep imagining. "Hand it over. Don't force me to attack, or you would have even get a chance to go into samsara." Truth Divine Emperor stared at Yemo. Yemo sighed. "I was thinking about letting you live, but there's no need now." "Die? You're asking to die." Truth Divine Emperor didn't expect he talked for so long, but this immortal emperor was just playing with him. He wasn't going to tolerate this and grab at Yemo with his hand. An immortal emperor was no different to an insect to him. But just when he lifted his hand, he felt this terror coming from his soul. A powerful murderous chi broke his down nourishment divine emperor domain and locked onto his soul and body. His body was reborn, but he couldn't find any way out of that powerful lethal force. Golden bow of divine extermination. Truth Divine Emperor recognized it when he saw Yemo draw the bow at him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2082 6 Arrows. Chapter 2082 6 Arrows. In that instant, Truth Divine Emperor didn't think about running away. He knew better than anyone the terror of the golden bow of divine extermination. It would be idiotic to run away in front of the golden bow of divine extermination. Truth Divine Emperor was shaking with cold, but he didn't think he lost. First, Yemo was just an immortal emperor. Even if an immortal emperor had the golden bow of divine extermination, he wouldn't be able to release most of instant second power. Second, it was uncertain how many arrows Yemo had. Truth Divine Emperor didn't speak and stretched his domain out like crazy. He was going to use his domain to crush Yemo's domain and then deal with the bone arrows. But soon Truth Divine Emperor found something was wrong. His domain clashed with Yemo's dun, and it was like mud entering an ocean. Suddenly, Yemo's domain increased in power. The powerful charge from domain shaked his domain. Truth Divine Emperor was shocked. He knew clearly now that Yemo wasn't an immortal emperor, but was a divine emperor who wasn't any weaker than him. A faint golden mark swiped across their domains and smashed towards Truth Divine Emperor. This area of void fell bleak and lifeless. A terrifying mark was left in the void by this arrow. Void wind blades flew out of the marks and hit their divine emperor domains before turning into nothing. Splurge, blood mist exploded. Truth Divine Emperor's arm that stopped the bone arrow was completely pulverized. Truth Divine Emperor used this opportunity to charge into the void fissure created by the golden bone arrow. Using his experience, he felt Yi Mo's cultivation level and knew that even without the golden bow of divine extermination, he might not be able to beat Yi Mo. He was already thinking about how to get away now. The void fissure created byt arrow was where he was going to flee. After Yi Mo vindicated Dao, he had been fighting in the God Necropolis domain. The God Necropolis domain space was very stable, and even if a Dao actualization divine emperor attacked with full power, it couldn't create void fissures. He didn't expect this many void fissures would be created in the cultivation realm void with one arrow. He didn't expect even more that Truth Divine Emperor would sacrifice an arm to flee. The instant Truth Divine Emperor fled, Yi Mo knew that he wasn't as experienced as Truth Divine Emperor, and he knew the terror of Truth Divine Emperor. His golden bone arrow was spirit-controlled to the 99th level restriction, but Truth Divine Emperor could block one arrow with his arm. If Truth Divine Emperor gathered his magic artifact, then 6 arrows that weren't completely controlled really might not be able to kill him. One couldn't flee against the bone arrow, but after the first shot was made and the second arrow wasn't readied, you could escape to another realm if you were capable. These thoughts flashed in an instant, and Yi Mo grabbed his bone arrow and charged into the void. Truth Divine Emperor knew Yi Mo chased, but there was nothing he could do. He knew he was too careless. How could someone who got the Chaos Tree be simple? The reason Yi Mo fled before was probably because he was injured too. The only thing he could do now was keep tearing space before Yi Mo's golden bone arrow locked onto him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to escape even if he reached Dao Actualization Divine Emperor. Plus, he didn't have any magic artifacts on him. Yi Mo didn't even release Space-Time Boat, and just kept hunting Truth Divine Emperor. He wouldn't allow Truth Divine Emperor to escape, or Yi Mo would be in danger. Truth Divine Emperor really wanted to know why Yi Mo hunted him this crazily. Even if he was scared that news of the Chaos Tree had spilled, Yi Mo shouldn't chase him. The news was already leaked. He was certain he wasn't the only one who sensed the Chaos Tree. There were void fissures, storms, and wind blades between the voids, but Yi Mo and Truth Divine Emperor pretty much ignored these. It was like a tickle to them. When Yi Mo's golden bow of divine extermination locked on a Truth Divine Emperor had to stop again. 3 golden beams shot out. These 3 golden arrows didn't create void fissures again. Truth Divine Emperor knew that Yi Mo learned from his past mistake. Since Yi Mo could control the bone arrow to not damage the nearby void, Truth Divine Emperor knew that Yi Mo's power was subtly higher than his. He was very shocked and didn't understand things. He knew his cultivation level. Before Divine Dao Rebirth, he wouldn't dare to say he was invincible amongst peers, but after that, his body and power were many times stronger. Yet, Yi Mo was on par with him. Just what cultivation method was Yi Mo using? Someone slightly stronger than him, and pointed the golden bow of divine extermination at him, who had no defense magic artifacts. How could the Truth Divine Emperor not know he was in extreme danger today? Feeling the terrifying destruction chi around him, Truth Divine Emperor roared, and divine golden rings spread out from his body, forming ripples. As these ripples expanded, Truth Divine Emperor's face rapidly aged. He had to fight with his life now. The first arrow smashed on the ripple, and the ripple instantly exploded. The destructive chi of the first arrow was mitigated. Rumble, rumble. The second and third arrows struck the 2 later ripples, which exploded at the same time. Destructive chi expanded from the void. Before Truth Divine Emperor could breath, 2 more golden beams shot out. These 2 faint destructive kais crossed the void instantly. Truth Divine Emperor was in despair as he stared at the golden ripple. How can you have 6 real golden bone arrows? There were only 5 remaining real arrows, and each arrow needed some time to recover after being shot. Yemo shot out 6 arrows and their power was at peak. The 4th arrow blasted Truth Divine Emperor's last ripple, and the 5th arrow struck onto his chest. Skin and bones were blasted to pieces. Truth Divine Emperor didn't have a single drop of blood on him. He burned all his life, essence blood, and even his essence spirit to block the first 4 arrows. But despite this, he couldn't escape his fate. He could never image that he had forbeared in the void for countless years and even succeeded in cultivating the divine Tao rebirth, but only ended up living a short year afterwards. He didn't even find a decent magic artifact in this year. Yemo felt his hands shaky. Even he couldn't take shooting 5 arrows in a row. Truth Divine Emperor was far stronger than he had imagined. He didn't have any magic artifact and didn't convert his immortal essence to God essence, but blocked 5 of his arrows before being shot down. Yemo admired his grit, but Yemo knew he had to kill Truth Divine Emperor. Otherwise, Truth Divine Emperor would kill him. He had Truth Divine Emperor's time formation disc, bitter bamboo, and immortal carnage tower. Yemo threw the bow and arrow into the golden page world and rested on an asteroid. At the same time, he was thinking that if Truth Divine Emperor had all his magic artifact, he might not be able to kill Truth Divine Emperor. Yemo rested for a moment and found that he didn't know where he was at all. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2083, Ji Shi Returns. Chapter 2083, Ji Shi returns. In the immortal goddess sacred sect, Ji Shi and the sect leader were sitting face to face. Ji Shi immediately asked her master why the saint was switched when she wasn't dead. "Master, you probably knew that my soul lamp wasn't out. Why did you appoint another saint? I'm back now. I hope Xiaoyan can go back to Lani Peak, and I'll stay at Immortal Goddess Peak." Ji Shi said, "No, you can only become saint again after 100 years. Ji Sini said without hesitation. Seeing Ji Shi dejected, Ji Sini sighed, "Ruashi, do you know why the great sun god mountain wants our saint? They want to sacrifice the saint to their mountain. The great sun god mountain has a Tao-seeking peak being. They're far stronger than our immortal goddess sacred sect. Great sun god mountain hasn't been able to relive their prime. If they use our saint to sacrifice to their mountain, the great sun god peak might reappear, and their Tao essence divine emperor peak might be able to use this to break through to primordial essence divine emperor. Then why are we sending a saint there?" Ji Shi asked in confusion. Ji Sini sighed, "Because great sun god mountain is too powerful. They annihilated the Suyu divine Tao. If they weren't scared of Duanmu Yuebwa, they would have flipped the sect grounds upside down. After all these years, Duanmu Yuebwa didn't come back. I think they probably have nothing holding them back. Even if we didn't give them a saint, they can find an opportunity to cause trouble. If we agree, we can delay for 100 years, so you must not spread news of you coming back." Ji Shi fell silent for a long while. "Since we're sending a saint, why do we have to choose Xiaoyan? This is so unfair for her. She had the least time in our sect. After knowing that Yemo was Mu Xiaoyun's husband, she planned to help Mu Xiaoyun. She felt that if she did, she wouldn't know Yemo anything, and then would be able to reach Tao actualization divine emperor in a short time. Plus, Xiaoyan has a husband. She's not suitable to be saint." Ji Shi hesitated and said. Ji Sini glanced at Ji Shi and said slowly, "Ruashi, do you think we're going to give Great Sun God Mountain a real saint for them to sacrifice?" Ji Shi looked dazedly at her master, the sect leader who raised her up. She finally realized that although Xiaoyun was a sacrifice, she was also something that could prevent the Great Sun God Mountain from becoming divine. Xiaoyun was no longer a virgin. If she was sacrificed by the Great Sun God Mountain, how could the Great Sun God Mountain become a divine Tao mountain? Is locking up Marshal Uncle Jailan to prevent her from stopping Xiaoyan going there? She suddenly felt tired. The immortal goddess sacred sect was this famous in the divine Tao realm. It was a place everyone respected. It was scared in selflessness and the spiritual epitaph of the broken realm. But now, The immortal goddess sacred sect was scheming a lonely woman. Was this looking at the bigger picture, or being selfish? Seeing Ji-Shi's look, Ji-Sini said again, Ruashi, our immortal goddess sacred sect saved Mu Xiaoyun's life. We're very grateful she can sacrifice for the immortal goddess sacred sect. Perhaps we can leave her name in the future. Qilin is immersed in the past, so locking her up for now is for the good of her. One day, she will understand my hard work. Ji-Shi let out a long sigh and suddenly made up her mind, Master. I hope we can find someone who's willing to be saint. Or perhaps I can do it. Regardless who it is, Xiaoyun can't be saint. Ji-Sini frowned. You being saint is wasting the will of the entire sect and fulfilling Great Sun God Mountain. You attained huge fortune from the god Necropolis domain and reached a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor in such a short time. I don't know what fortune you got, but this is a sign that the immortal goddess sacred sect is about to rise. How can you be so emotional? How can you handle the great responsibilities ahead of you? As though feeling she was too heavy on her, Ji-Sini eased up her tone and said, Xiaoyun has this ethereal temperament. Although she's no longer virgin, she has the qi of a saint. Another married woman wouldn't be able to be like saint. Xiaoyun has the best talent and a qi that other women don't have. Only she can be the saint without making Great Sun God Mountain suspicious. Ji-Shi stood up and said, Master, I'm afraid that making Xiaoyun saint would eventually harm the immortal goddess sacred sect. Ji-Sini looked at Ji-Shi in confusion. Xiaoyun probably came from the immortal realm. Although ordinary divine emperors don't know the passage to the immortal realm, but we do. If you're not feeling safe, you can go with Martial Uncle Yunhui and go annihilate her sect. Martial Uncle Yunhui already went to the immortal realm? Ji-Shi got up in shock. Just when Ji-Sini wanted to talk, she saw Yunhui outside and quickly opened a restriction. Yunhui, come in, Ruashi is back. It's great news that Saint Shi is back. Yunhui immediately said happily. Why are you here? Ji-Sini looked at Yunhui in confusion. Yunhui also said in confusion, I'm very bewildered too. The place we found can definitely sense the immortal realm qi, but this time, I couldn't find it at all. The immortal realm's qi had been completely segregated. It seems someone has set up a formation to separate the immortal realm from the divine Dao realm. I'm planning to go check it again. Really? Ji-Sini frowned. Even if the immortal realm people knew there was a tunnel to the divine Dao, Ray wouldn't be able to seal it. I suspect someone from this realm did it. I don't know the reason yet. Yunhui answered. Ji-Shi suddenly said, Master, we don't need to go to the immortal realm. I'm talking about Xiaoyun's husband. I saw him at the god Necropolis domain. What? You're saying Xiaoyun's husband went to the god Necropolis domain? Ji-Sini suddenly got up. How could that be? The news she got was that Xiaoyun's husband was probably dead already or fighting in the cultivation realm. Ji-Shi nodded yes. He's called Yimo. I owe him a favor. It was due to him that I could cross the life-crippling bridge. You crossed the life-crippling bridge? Ji-Sini and Yunhui both got up in shock. Crossing that bridge meant there was the chance to reach Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. This news was too shocking. Ji-Sini thought she came back from the god Necropolis domain border. What was inside the life-crippling forbidden grounds? Ji-Sini's tone was shaky. She shook her head. Just as I crossed it, I was devoured by a space fissure. When I came out, I found I was at the immortal goddess sacred sect. So that's it. Ji-Sini sat down. Moments later, she explained life-crippling bridge is also called Samsara Heart Bridge. The crevices at the end of the bridge pretty much is the border of Samara. If you didn't go into the Samsara River, those void fissures are called heart mark void. These heart mark voids would take the person where they want to go the most. You were able to return to the immortal goddess sacred sect accurately probably because you were in the 9 lotus stand. So that's it, she said. Ji-Sini nodded. We'll talk about that later. Tell me about Xiaoyun's Dao partner? Ji-Shi's face went serious. She began talking about what Yimo, and when she finished, she said worriedly, Master, Yimo is the strongest immortal emperor I've seen. Of course, I'm certain he's not immortal emperor. I owe him, but most importantly, if he didn't die and the sect did something against Xiaoyun, our sect will, You're saying he chatted very well with that Gongyang and even became friends? Ji Sini frowned. Yes, Gong and Qianbei indeed got along with Emo. They're friends as equals. Ji Shi said. Yunhui suddenly said, sect leader. The Emo fell down the life-crippling river. No matter how powerful he is, he can't survive. That Gongyang only met him once, and he's dead. I believe Gongyang and probably wouldn't remember him. Plus, it's not even certain if Gongyang can come out of the god Necropolis domain. According to Ji Shi, Yemo just killed a Tao molding divine emperor, so his power is probably a Tao nourishment divine emperor. But our immortal goddess sacred sect has Tao essence divine emperor. A mere Yemo is nothing. Master, I mean to give Xiaoyun's soul back to her. Ji Shi agreed to Xiaoyun that she would get her soul back. Ji Sini shook her head. I can only give it back when she heads to the great sun god mountain. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2084, Duanmu Yueba. Chapter 2084, Duanmu Yueba, Yemo stopped in the void. He still wanted to set up a formation for Lotus Glory Sect and visit where Xiaoyun stayed and find Meng Qi. But clearly, that was impossible now. There were countless realms connected to the void, and the universe was vast. He just reached Tao molding divine emperor. He was far from letting his spirit will cross voids and realms. He really wanted to know how Truth Divine Emperor went back to the immortal realm, but Truth Divine Emperor wouldn't tell him. There were plenty of God crystals and God spirit ranges in his golden page world, but Yemo knew that even if he used them all, he wouldn't be able to reach Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor needed fortune and understanding of Tao law. This wasn't a piling up of resources. Shadowless, control the space-time boat. Wherever you feel there is people, just go there. You can tear the void here easily. Yemo said. He didn't know the direction anyways, so there was no difference if he was flying or shadowless. Shadowless loved to do such things. In order to have fun in the void, Small Ginseng and Xiaorang came out of the Golden Page world too. They both said that one extra person had one extra way. Yemo knew these three together would just waste more time, but he didn't have the mood to chat with these guys, so he let them all out. Yemo went back into the Golden Page world. He was going to build an exquisite residence for Qi Wanqing. Yemo used his best materials and even that in used god heartstone. Yemo was very meticulous. Half a month later, he built an extremely beautiful palace for Qi Wanqing. A top-grade god spirit range was used to provide essence Qi for the palace, and a top formation was used to protect it. Qi Wanqing's room was at the back of the palace. Yemo planted thousands of immortal spirit herb and immortal flowers around the palace. Space-time boat flew like a headless fly in the void, but Yemo could only let them do as they please. He was perfecting his god arts in the Golden Page world and would stay with Qi Wanqing when he had the time. 3 months later, Yemo felt his Tao wave laws become more fluid. Today, Yemo left Qi Wanqing's place and felt shadowless desperate call. Yemo immediately scanned his spirit sense out and found that the three were trying their best to control the space-time boat. There was an extremely huge whirlpool in front of them. If they didn't try their hardest, the space-time boat would have been swept in already. Despite this, a little less than half of the boat was gone. Yemo quickly sent the three into the Golden Page world. The next moment, the Golden Page world was sucked into the whirlpool. Boss, I seem to feel we should go this way, so... Shadowless looked down and called. It was completely his responsibility this time. He said to go close to that whirlpool and said it would definitely be fine. He even said that he and Yemo had seen such whirlpool before and it would be fine as long as you didn't go in. In the end, the three neared it and lost control. They couldn't even go back into the Golden Page world due to the powerful suction force. Yemo sighed. When he gave the space-time boat to Shadowless, he should have expected such things to happen. There were countless whirlpools in the void, but luckily, they had Golden Page world. They wouldn't die from it. Yemo didn't have the mood to tell Shadowless off. They were already lost anyways. So what if they were swept away? Yemo had seen these whirlpools more than once before. Sometimes they lead to another void, sometimes they lead to another realm. If they really went to another realm, that would be good. But when Yemo felt the outside get colder and colder, he felt things wasn't thing. When the golden page world fell into the whirlpool, it seemed to be dropping straight down non-stop. Yemo was just Tao molding Divine Emperor, but his spirit sense was for beyond Tao molding Divine Emperor. Yet despite this, his spirit sense was quickly invaded by the coldness. His golden page world spun faster and faster, and his spirit sense lasted shorter and shorter. A month later, the whirlpool finally disappeared. Yemo felt that coldness go away. The golden page world appeared in a dark gray world. Yemo felt this world was empty. It had no life, no chi, no temperature. Yemo came out of the golden page world and stood on this dark gray place. He scanned his spirit sense out slowly. All that his spirit sense saw was dark gray. There wasn't even color in this world. What is this place? It doesn't seem to be the void. Shadowless came out of the void. Yemo looked around and said, "This isn't the void. If I'm not wrong, it's a world. A powerful immortal's solitary world. There's a gray stone house ahead and a dead person inside. Let's go have a look." Yemo saw that the world wasn't big. This stone house was perhaps the only structure here. There wasn't even a door to the house. Yemo walked in with Shadowless and saw a dark gray body. It was leaning against the wall with instant second head hanging down. There was an 80-centimeter spear pierced from his back. Yemo suddenly felt this sense of familiarity from this person. It was indescribable, but Yemo turned his eyes to the spear. He didn't feel any chi in this world, but when his spirit sense scanned the spear, a sharp killing intent shot out from the spear. Yemo felt his sea of consciousness go cold. He immediately stabilized his sea of consciousness. He was very shocked. This spear wasn't even released, and it was this terrifying. Just how savage would it be if it was activated? "There's writing on the wall," Shadowless said. Yemo saw it too. He walked closer. This body seemed extremely ugly, but there were 2 strands of tears trickling down that didn't dissipate with time. "My name, Duanmu Yuebwa, Suyu Divine Tao." Seeing the sect name, Yemo immediately remembered the 7th painting he saw in that estate at the bottom of the river. There was a grand sect in the painting. A gray-robed man stood before the sect in the air. "I understand," Yemo muttered to himself. No wonder this corpse felt familiar. It was the figure he saw in the painting. Yemo knew this man was definitely not ordinary. His back seemed much cooler than his look, but someone like that died here. Yemo sighed. If the riverbed estate was set up by Duanmu Yuebwa, then he was definitely a powerful being. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2085, They Way Back. Chapter 2085, They Way Back. Divine Tao Samsara is broken. Tao pursuers forgot the source of life. I vindicated primordial essence Tao. Will open the divine Tao realm Samsara, connect to the underworld and rebuild Samsara with great determination. There was a long message on the wall. After reading it, Yemo couldn't help feel a pity for Duanmu Yuebwa. This person vindicated primordial essence. He felt very heart ache seeing that divine Tao realm cultivators slaughter and rob with any means necessary for cultivation. He wanted people to know that even if they couldn't vindicate great Tao, they could still go into Samsara and cultivate from the start as long as they had goodwill in their hearts. But Samsara was extremely hard in the divine Tao realm. Only 1 in 10s or 100 could go into Samsara. Duanmu Yuebwa wanted people to have more goodwill and decided to use his power to open a path to the underworld. Duanmu Yuebwa did go into the underworld and saw it, but at this moment, he realized he was too weak. Even though he was a primordial essence divine emperor in the divine Tao realm, he was nothing in the underworld. He went through countless years of hardship and still couldn't fulfill his dream. After he was ambushed and fled from the underworld, He hid into his small world. His sea of consciousness cracked open and just left a few messages of the dark lightning bead, and his sea of consciousness completely crumbled. Thus, he could only write on the wall. Yemo looked around but didn't see any dark lightning bead, but he didn't care. He just wanted to get out quickly. If there was no way out, he was planning to break the gray world. When Dwamuyuebwa left his message, he felt the Suyu Divine Tao annihilated in battles everywhere in the Divine Tao realm. Countless immortals and divine emperors died. Dwamuyuebwa felt very sad that he couldn't help at all when the sect that raised him was annihilated. While he was trying to pave a path in samsara for the Divine Tao realm, his sect was annihilated clean by the people of the Divine Tao realm. This made his heart die too, and his life force deplete more rapidly. The message stopped there. It didn't say who was hunting him, nor why he was hunted, nor how to get out. Yemo sighed. If Dwamuyuebwa didn't sense his Suyu Divine Tao being annihilated, perhaps he would have had sliver of hope to live. He didn't believe that Dwamuyuebwa paved the underworld passage purely out of altruistic motives. He definitely had his own agenda, but regardless, it was very beneficial to the Divine Tao realm. Yemo grabbed the short spear that killed Dwamuyuebwa. A vast and extreme killing intent came from the spear. It was like the killing intent was ready to kill. Even with Yemo's power, he almost let go. Such powerful spear. This killing intent is no ordinary thing. Yemo said, "Shadowless, boss, if you don't like this spear, you can give it to me." Yemo ignored Shadowless. Yemo used his god essence, and the short spear quickly left Dwamuyuebwa's body. This extremely restlessness came from the spear. Yemo suppressed with his spirit sense immediately and put a few restrictions on it before sending it to his golden page world. Yemo felt this spear was even stronger than the 3-treasure primordial essence gourd. Dwamuyuebwa's body suddenly fell down. A dark blood bead fell out of the wound in front of his chest, turning into a black bead. Yemo didn't need to pick it up as the message Dwamuyuebwa left behind came. This blood orb was Suyu Divine Tao Sect Protection Dark Lightning Orb. Those who can see this orb must be from the Divine Tao realm. The one who gets this, if willing to swear to rebuild Suyu Divine Tao, can use this bead to return to the underworld passage he didn't finish. It couldn't go back to the Divine Tao realm directly, but it could go back to the immortal estate he left. There was an Abyss metal card there, and one could use that card to teleport to the Suyu Divine Tao from the 7th painting. Yemo dazed and took out the metal card. He was eventually going back to the Divine Tao realm. But soon, Yemo was grateful to Dwamuyuebwa. Regardless of his motives, at least Dwamuyuebwa gave him a quick way back to the Divine Tao realm. However, he went around the cultivation realm and had a lot of unfinished business, and now he had to go back to the Divine Tao realm. Shadowless quickly said, "Yeah, boss. I felt I should come over here. That's why I came over." Yemo waved his hand. "You're not to blame." At this moment, Yemo realized that the reason Shadowless came over was because Dwamuyuebwa left some chi to draw him here. Those who came from the Divine Tao realm would feel this chi at the same time. Yemo looked down on Dwamuyuebwa's means of action. Perhaps he had a nice heart, but he definitely had ulterior motives for opening the Divine Tao realm samsara passage. The passage he went into before couldn't be entered by anyone. If he didn't have the golden page world, he would be dead. From this, it was clear that Dwamuyuebwa drew people to that passage only thinking about his own benefits, but not other people's life and death. If Dwamuyuebwa set up the samsara passage, it would be a huge contribution to the Divine Tao realm. With this, he might progress stronger. If Primordial Essence Divine Emperor was the extreme, he wouldn't be killed. Even if Primordial Essence Divine Emperor was the extreme, there was highs and lows. Yemo had vindicated Tao now and could sense some things about good karma. But Yemo didn't care about these things. He pursued his own Tao. He severed the wills affecting him during his Tao vindication. Repairing the Divine Tao realm and immortal realm was a huge good karma, and it could help other divine emperors greatly and vindicate the best Tao. But Yemo wanted to vindicate his own Tao. Even if he was to repair the Divine Tao realm, it would have nothing to the award Heaven Dao gave him. Otherwise, no matter what Dao he vindicated, he would still be below Heaven Dao. Yemo picked up the dark lightning bead and immediately felt the ancient heavy mixed chi inside. Yemo didn't check the bead with his spirit sense. This was Suyu Divine Dao's treasure. He didn't want to take it for himself. If this bead can take me back to the Divine Dao realm, Yemo, will rebuild Suyu Divine Dao and return this bead to the sect. Yemo's words couldn't be called oath. He didn't say what would happen if he didn't do it. Yemo could even sever wills that made him swear during Dao vindication. How could he make an oath for such small thing? When Yemo said those words, there was no reaction from the dark lightning orb. Clearly, it was unhappy with his oath. Boss, it doesn't seem to be useful. Shadowless looked at the bead and said. He even wanted to say to Yemo, why not let me make the oath? I make oaths as easy as drinking and eating. No reaction. Then we'll break this world and find our own way back. A mere lifeless world can't stop me. Yemo sneered and turned to leave. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2086 Return to Broken Realm. Chapter 2086 Return to Broken Realm. Yemo knew that the bead probably noticed his words didn't sound like an oath at all, and so didn't react. He was planning to break open this gray world. He didn't care if this world would be destroyed in the world. The instant Yemo turned, a dark ray suddenly shot out of the bead and struck the wall. In a buzz, a black whirlpool formed. Boss, it worked, Shadowless said. Yemo rejoiced. It was best that the dark lightning bead could conform. At least he didn't need to waste time in the void. Go into the golden page world first. I'm fine alone. Yemo sent Shadowless into the golden page world, and then he went into that whirlpool without hesitation. His spirit sense already reached inside and knew there was no danger inside. As soon as Yemo stepped in, he felt a powerful rotational force lift him up. Even with his powerful spirit sense, he couldn't see completely clear. The spinning force didn't last long. It seemed to have built a tunnel in the void, and in just 5 minutes, Yemo landed in a black room. Spirit sense scanned with his spirit sense. His spirit sense couldn't find a way out. There was a stair in the middle of the room, and it expanded into the infinity. How could Yemo not know it? When he was at the estate at the bottom of the Chengzheng River, this was the stairs he saw. His power was too low at the time and couldn't go down the stairs. This dark room was probably the place Duanmu Yuebwa connected to the underworld. Yemo didn't know if this passage was opened or not. Yemo didn't think about how to find the underworld tunnel. He just went on the stairs. He was worried if he could go up these stairs. If he couldn't, he would have to find another way out. Clearly, Yemo was worrying too much. He found it required much less power to go down than go up. Plus, his cultivation level was much higher than before, but the stairs weren't short. Yemo's speed wasn't slow, but he still used 2 hours to come to the top. Just when Yemo wanted to take out the metal card and open the yin-yang fish entrance, it opened automatically. A powerful cold power instantly filled the place and brought Yemo landing on the empty palace. Luckily, Yemo's fist power increased, and although this was sudden, he didn't faceplant in the middle like before. After Yemo fell in the palace, the yin-yang fish painting closed automatically. Yemo looked at this familiar palace and was speechless. Many years ago, he left from here. Many years later, he came back. The palace was empty, and the paintings were still there. Yemo knew that if he used the metal card, he could return to the Divine Dao realm with the 7th painting. But this time, he was in no rush to leave. When he saw the first painting, he almost sunk into it, but now he could look at a few more. The first painting was a servant carrying water. When Yemo's spirit sense scanned in, he felt that powerful suction force again. He had decided to go find someone to build the sect first, and then get revenge at Changfei Divine Dao City. Then, he would return to the immortal realm. He needed to seal the passage completely shut. Yemo believed that with his current power, even if he couldn't understand the formation immediately, he would be able to perfect it with time. After he perfected that formation, he could return to the immortal realm and study about how to go back to the cultivation realm. He didn't believe that he couldn't go back to the cultivation realm when Truth Divine Emperor could. Just when Yimo moved, he caught a subtle chi, Yimo flashed and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was in front of a man and woman. They were both immortal emperor and were defenseless to Yimo. They knew that Yimo's power was far greater than theirs. "Who are you? What are you doing here at Suyu Divine Tao?" Yimo sneered as his powerful divine emperor force crushed over. The two couldn't take Yimo's powerful force and immediately wanted to expand their domain. Yimo looked at the pretty woman and said, "You're from Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect?" Yimo had fought with she countless times and could immediately sense the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect cultivation method. Hearing this, the woman's face went pale as snow. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters." Chapter 2087, 3 Big Divine Sects. Chapter 2087, 3 Big Divine Sects. Yimo thought about it and realized what happened. The Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect women were all Immortal Goddess. They wouldn't be together with another man. This was unheard of. Now that this Immortal Goddess was with a man, and she looked very nervous. Clearly she betrayed the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. Yimo didn't mind. In his eyes, the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect was only so-so. He didn't even feel Saint Ji. She was very sacred, much less this ordinary sect members. She was just a pretty woman, that's all. Yimo hadn't left yet, because he wanted to know what the two were doing here. "Wanbei Zhuwen Mao, please forgive me for offending Qianbei. It's my fault that Yui came here. Please don't spread the news about us." The man said respectfully and subtly stood in front of the Immortal Goddess Yuhi. "Qianbei, Wanbei is indeed from the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, but Brother Wenmao didn't ask me to come. I wanted to go with him. I'm willing to go back to the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect and receive punishment. This has nothing to do with Brother Wenmao. Please let him go." The beautiful woman quickly explained. Yimo was speechless. "I have no problem with you two being together. Do whatever you want. I don't know Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, and I won't go report you in." Before they could rejoice, Yimo's tone suddenly went cold. "But tell me why you came here. If you lie at all, then don't blame me." Their faces became nervous again, but this silence didn't last very long before Zhu Wenmao saluted with his fist to Yimo. "Qianbei, Wanbei don't dare to ask who Qianbei is. Wanbei had decided to not live on after Yueha goes, so Wanbei will tell Qianbei the reason." Yimo frowned. "I didn't say to kill you. What are you talking about?" "Brother Wenmao, let me explain." Lei Yueha's face went calm again. Lei Yueha bowed to Yimo again and said, "Qianbei probably knows which sect is the strongest in the divine Tao realm, right?" Yimo nodded. "It's probably your Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, right?" Lei Yueha shook her head. "No. Out of the 3 big divine sects, Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect was the weakest. The strongest was Suyu Divine Tao. Then it was Great Sun God Mountain. Suyu Divine Tao had perished, so the strongest is Great Sun God Mountain." Lei Yueha said this subconsciously, and then realized that Yimo probably knew all this. She said with fear, "Wanbei said too much. Qianbei probably knows this." Yimo didn't know it at all, so he could only say awkwardly, "Just say everything you know." "I didn't know that indeed. I'd been in solitary cultivation." The two looked at Yimo with shock, but didn't dare to rebuke. After all, the 3 big divine sects of the divine Tao realm was instant second flag. There was no way Yimo didn't know about them. Our sect Saint Qing saved the collapsing divine Tao realm, and thus was respected by people of the broken realm and rose our sect to a #1 sect. But in fact, there's a sect who wasn't affected much just like ours. It's the Great Sun God Mountain. Lei Yueha was very precise, and Yimo nodded happily. "Continue." "Yes." Lei Yueha continued. "Ever since Suyu Divine Tao was annihilated, the people from Great Sun God Mountain rarely appeared. After countless years, people from Great Sun God Mountain started to come out. We know that even two of the immortal goddess sacred sect combined is no match for Great Sun God Mountain. Yemo asked, "You're saying that Great Sun God Mountain wants to annihilate immortal goddess sacred sect?" Leiyue said, "Definitely, they do. You're all sects of a broken realm. Why do this?" Yemo asked. The reason they haven't done this is because the main peak of the Great Sun God Mountain, the Great Sun God Peak's law, is incomplete. It was contaminated. They need to sacrifice our saint to purify it. Once the impurities are gone, the powers of the Great Sun God Mountain would rise again. Hearing this, Yemo was more confused and asked with a frown, "How do you sacrifice the saint?" At the peak of the Great Sun God Mountain, slice open the neck of the saint and let her blood flow down the peak until the saint dies and all of her life force is devoured by the Great Sun God Mountain. Leiyue said dejectedly. Then she added, "This is just their excuse. If we don't lend them the saint, they would use this to attack. After we lend them the saint, they would still attack." Yemo could guess that she wasn't the sect as she told her that for some reason she was no longer saint. This Great Sun God Mountain was so bleak. The divine Tao realm was already withered to this state, and they still want to dominate everything. If this continues, the divine Tao realm would eventually completely cripple. I heard that a prodigy of Great Sun God Mountain is about to reach primordial essence divine emperor. They're probably doing this for that prodigy. They want to use the entire realm to vindicate his down. Once he fuses the divine Tao realm and completes the sect, his primordial essence divine emperor would be in great completion. Zhu Wenj said. Then he said hatefully, "I've suspected the Great Sun God Mountain long had such plans. You're saying that a Tao essence divine emperor peak stage of Great Sun God Mountain is about to fuse the entire realm and then use it to vindicate primordial essence?" Yemo asked in shock. Isn't this spirit controlling the entire divine Tao realm for himself? This was more than cruel. On the surface, it seemed to be doing good, but even a primordial essence divine emperor would have to kill all the living beings here. Even if he didn't, all the living beings on this place would be spirit-controlled and turn into divine Tao laws once he perfected the world laws here. Yes. Zhu Wenmao sighed. Yemo shook his head. Impossible. If it's just a Tao essence divine emperor, there's no way he can do this. Yemo's cultivation level was far from Tao essence divine emperor, but he had some understanding of Tao essence divine emperor. He knew that even a peak stage Tao essence divine emperor can't spirit control the entire divine Tao realm. That was suicide. Perhaps he isn't Tao essence. Perhaps he is already primordial essence. Yemo's heart was shook. Could a primordial essence, divine emperor spirit control the divine Tao realm? It said that the divine Tao realm had 5 primordial essence divine emperor before, and they remained in balance. No one dared to spirit control the divine Tao realm. But before, even if there was just one primordial essence divine emperor, he wouldn't be able to spirit control the complete divine Tao realm. But now the divine Tao realm was broken. A primordial essence divine emperor might really be able to spirit control this realm and then rebuild the realm with his god art. That way, this realm would probably be his chaos world. If there really was such a guy, then he would have to flee this place. The three fell in silence. Yemo finally realized what Zhu Wenmao's death meant, but he was still suspicious. If Qianbei doesn't have any business, Wanbei will be going. Seeing Yemo not talk, Zhu Wenmao said again. Yemo nodded. Leiyue, I want to ask you another question. I know you're Saint Ji. Did she come back? Hearing this, Leiyue dazed but soon reacted and bowed. Qianbei, Saint Ji has been back to the sect for a few years. But now, she's no longer the saint. It's someone else. Yemo rejoiced. She was back, and he could get his gourd from her. Okay, I'm very happy with your answer. I have one last question. Why did you guys come to Suyu Divine Tao? Yemo thought about getting the gourd and was very happy. Zhu Wenmao sighed. He knew he had to answer and bowed to Yemo because Wanbei is the only surviving sect member of Suyu Divine Tao. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2088 Fire Spirit Little Blue. Chapter 2088 Fire Spirit Little Blue, you're a sect member of Suyu Divine Tao? Then why do you sneak here? Yemo asked. Zhu Wenmao said, because our sect was annihilated by Great Sun, God Mountain. You're saying Great Sun, God Mountain, annihilated Suyu Divine Tao? Yemo repeated and seemed to understand. If the Great Sun God Mountain really had primordial essence Divine Emperor and wanted to control the entire Divine Tao realm, then it wasn't impossible that they annihilate Suyu Divine Tao all those years ago. Yemo thought and asked, Suyu Divine Tao was annihilated a few million years ago. You seem far from this age. That's because when the sect was annihilated, Wan Bei's essence spirit fled. I was lucky and found a Luo Shao wood to rebuild my body. After that, restarted cultivation. I later encountered Marshall's sister Yueha. Without her, I wouldn't be able to last till today. Zhu Wenmao said. Yemo could feel he wasn't lying. He looked at him and said, I'm somewhat connected with Duanmu Yuebua. I came here this time mainly to help rebuild the sect. If you dare to stay, then help me. Our primordial essence martial ancestor Duanmu Yuebua, Zhu Wenmao dazed. When the sect was annihilated, the entire sect was hoping the martial ancestor would come back, but he didn't even at the final moment. This is a long story. If you're willing to help, then we'll talk about it at Changfei Divine Tao City. Yemo knew that in order to rebuild the sect, they had to go to the city. Many materials had to be bought from the city. 2 hours later, Zhu Wenmao knew from Yemo that his martial ancestor could never return again. Zhu Wenmao was lost for words. He had always hidden at the sect in hopes that the martial ancestor would come back one day. Yi Qianbei, if the sect is rebuilt, I'm afraid the Great Sun God Mountain would, Zhu Wenmao said worriedly. If it wasn't for the Great Sun God Mountain, Yemo would rebuild the Suyu Divine Tao straight away. After knowing about Great Sun God Mountain, of course he wouldn't do it recklessly now. He had to know the situation of Great Sun God Mountain first. He gave Zhu Wenmao a storage ring and said, there's half a top-grade God Spirit range. Zhu Wenmao almost dropped the storage ring. The thing lacking in the God Necropolis domain the most was the God Spirit range. Even low-grade God Spirit range was rare, yet Yemo gave him half a top-grade God Spirit range. Yemo knew God Spirit range was in shortage here and was planning to give one to the Suyu Divine Tao anyways. He took out half to help prepare resources for setting up the sect, and the other half for setting up the spirit gathering formation. Yi Qianbei, Zhu Wenmao said drily. Half a top-grade God Spirit range was probably enough for him to vindicate Tao. This is the resource for rebuilding the sect. Use this to buy resources at the city and wait for me to come back. This wasn't much in Yemo's eyes, but Yemo wasn't that wealthy now. He needed to cultivate too. This wasn't wealthy to Yemo, but in Zhu Wenmao's eyes, it was more than enough. The Divine Tao realm was lacking resources. Even half a low-grade God Spirit range can exchange for countless resources and set up the sect for Suyu Divine Tao. Please rest assured, Qianbei, I will definitely buy the things to set up the sect and wait for Qianbei to come. Zhu Wenmao calmed down his excitement and said. Yemo said to Lei Yueho again, I'm going to visit the Great Sun God Mountain and Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. Don't worry about your identity. I know Ji Shi, it's probably not hard for you to leave the sect. Just wait here and help Zhu Wenmao. To Yemo, he felt that she still owed him even if she gave the gourd back to him. If she didn't even want to help with something like this, she was too shameless. Lei Yueho was an immortal goddess and Yemo knew their status here. Even if something happened to Zhu Wenmao, she would be able to use the name of the sect to settle things. Thank you, Qianbei. Wanbei knows. Lei Yueho said excitedly. Yemo didn't enter the city. He needed to get what he deserved at the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect and check out Great Sun God Mountain. After separating from them, Yemo used the map Lei Yueho gave him and flew for a day before stopping and entering the Golden Page world. The first thing he did was to spirit control that short spear. Yemo was certain it was no ordinary thing or it wouldn't be able to kill Duanmu Webo. When he took the spear out, chaotic, messy chi seeped out from his restriction. There was killing chi, hatred chi, abyssal chi, and Dao Mark chi mixed together. Yemo set up the time formation disc and then removed the restriction and began spirit controlling this spear. The time formation disc ran for 3 days for Yemo, had spent a year and still couldn't spirit control this spear. He could only slowly erode at the chaotic chi, but Yemo knew the name of this spear now. Its name was insane. It was called Murder Dao. It was this unknown material that had been nourished for countless years and formed this short spear. Yemo stopped spirit controlling this spear. First, he didn't like this name. There were different heights to Daos. Everyone had their own Dao. This spear was named Murder Dao, meaning that no matter how strong you got, as long as you had your own Dao wave, you might be killed by this spear's backlash. Second, Yemo didn't like to use spears, much less a spear with this much impure chi. This spear had stayed countless spirits and would definitely slay more. However, the material of this spear was the best Yemo had seen so far. Yemo immediately thought of his Isu. His Isu was now just barely a low-grade god artifact, mainly because he lacked the materials and his forgery skills weren't good enough. Zisu was different to other magic artifacts, however. It could fuse materials itself. If he melted the material and fused it into Zisu, it would become a supreme magic artifact. Looking at this Murder Dao spear, Yemo was interested. The only worry Yemo had now was if blue like morning sky could melt this spear. If not, it would be pointless. Just when he released blue like morning sky, he felt blue like morning sky was different. He could even sense blue like morning sky's mood. What was going on? A baby chi came. Yemo blurted out, "You're a fire spirit, the fire spirit of blue like morning sky." Then Yemo was very certain that a fire spirit was born. As the chi from blue like morning sky became more and more complete, Yemo was even more certain. Yemo rejoiced. Flames could have a spirit when they were immortal flames. His mist Lotus Heart fire was too low level, so he didn't use it and didn't care. But when his blue like morning sky reached immortal flame, there was no fire spirit. Although blue like morning sky had reached God flame for a while now, finally a fire spirit was born. Although it couldn't completely communicate with it, but it could express its feelings. "I'll call you Little Blue." Yemo laughed. He felt very good. "Little Blue, I need you to melt this spear and remove the impure chi inside and fuse it into Z. So can you do it?" Yemo asked. Blue like morning sky sent a contemptuous mood as though unhappy with Yemo for doubting his capabilities. However, the Murder Dao released a chaotic chi. Yemo didn't care and just threw blue like morning sky on the spear. Blue like morning sky quickly wrapped the Murder Dao spear and released a fearsome blue flame. Cracking sounds came, but even after a few days, the spear was still there. The chaotic chi was getting weaker and weaker. It seemed Little Blue just needed to burn through the chaotic chi and would then be able to melt the spear. So amazing! Blue like morning sky was already God flame and could be said to be the strongest flame in this realm, but still couldn't melt this spear. Yemo sent a message to Little Blue telling him to take it slow. Yemo left the Golden Page world. He didn't need to watch it constantly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2089, Saint Dao Prayer Ceremony. Chapter 2089, Saint Dao Prayer Ceremony. Yemo was at a small marketplace right now. The word said Luxiao Market. It wasn't small, but it was an open roof market. The reason he stopped here was because he had been to this market once. He wore a mask here and was attacked due to people thinking he was Taba Feiyang. Yemo didn't plan to go in, but when a familiar spirit sense came from the market and spun on him, it released some joyful chi. Yemo recognized who this person was. Just when he wanted to go in, this person immediately landed next to Yemo. "Yemo, I really didn't expect to be able to see you here." It was a woman, but when she saw Yemo's chi was still at a mortal emperor, she collected her joy. It was an extremely beautiful woman. So it's a Yao goddess. Congratulations on Dao vindication. Yimo immediately realized why she collected her joy. She succeeded Dao vindication, but he was still immortal emperor. She didn't want to hit his insecurities. Yimo didn't care. The divine Dao realm's laws were incomplete. He vindicated Dao in his own chaos world. His Dao wave and laws were much more complete. Brother Yi really exceeds my expectation. I really thought Brother Yi was a monk before. Shanning Yao looked at Yi Mo's long black hair, speechlessly. She wondered how Yi Mo came out of the god necropolis domain border. Perhaps he had a top-level rune, but she didn't want to ask Yi Mo. She respected Yi Mo's power despite he wasn't a divine emperor. Just some small achievements. Martial Brother Yi has better talents than me. You will reach future than me. Shanning Yao said, and then changed the subject. Brother Yi, do you want to sit for a while in the market? Yi Mo wasn't a monk, so she was still suspicious of Yi Mo and Taba Feiyong, but she felt Yi Mo was a good person and didn't force him. Of course, Yi Mo agreed. He had some things he wanted to ask Shanning Yao too. Shanning Yao had high status, and now that she reached Divine Emperor, she was respected even more. The people who saw her in the marketplace all bowed to her. After inviting Yi Mo into an immortal rest tower, Shanning Yao poured a cup of top-grade immortal tea for him. Before she asked, Yi Mo asked Goddess Yao, I want to ask if you know about the 3 divine sects of the divine Dao realm? Shanning Yao smiled. If you asked me before, really wouldn't know, but lately I heard that the great sun god mountain and immortal goddess sacred sect still remains. Suyu divine Dao had been annihilated. The older generation of the broken realm would know. Yi Mo asked, then how come you wouldn't know if I asked you earlier? Shanning Yao answered, because something big happened at the immortal goddess sacred sect lately. Their saint is about to go to the GSS and pray there. The immortal goddess sacred sect is the #1 sect of the divine Dao realm, so they invited all the divine emperors of the divine Dao realm to go there and visit the ceremony. I was invited too. Yi Mo immediately knew what was going on. It was no prayer ceremony. The great sun god mountain and immortal goddess sacred sect both knew that the saint would be sacrificed. Immortal goddess sacred sect knew their power was weaker than great sun god mountain, so they invited all the divine emperors. If their saint was really killed at the great sun god mountain, then they would immediately announce this news. Then, the great sun EW god mountain would have to face not only immortal goddess sacred sect, but all the divine emperors of the divine Dao realm. Then immortal goddess sacred sect would have even higher status, and the entire divine Dao realm would be against great sun god mountain. The immortal goddess sacred sect's calculations might seem good to them, but to Yi Mo, it was too naive. But Yi Mo was not interested in this. He just wanted to find Ji before they sent the saint to the great sun god mountain. As for how the immortal goddess sacred sect fought, he didn't care. Does Goddess Yao know about any more specifics about the 3 big divine sects? Shanning Yao shook her head. I don't know very clearly. If Brother Yi wants to know more about the situation, I can go back and ask, and then bring Brother Yi a jade slip. Yi Mo laughed. I'm just casually asking. No need for that trouble. Shanning Yao didn't mind, and continued, the immortal goddess sacred sect Yinhuai Qianbei is coming to Changfei Divine Dao City to greet us. I'm just passing by the market here. It's really fortunate to see Brother Yi here. She didn't feel Yi Mo's disappointment and approved of Yi Mo's mentality even more. Yi Mo didn't answer. He was going to the immortal goddess sacred sect, and it was best before the saint went to great sun god mountain. Seeing Yi Mo didn't chat much, Shanning Yao asked Brother Yi, I want to ask if you have seen Taba Feiyong? Or, Yi Mo knew she called him over for this, and he was planning to admit it, so he nodded. That's right, I've seen Taba Feiyong. What then you? Shanning Yao got up in fury. This extreme fury spouted from her. She was certain that the one wearing the mask was Yi Mo. This meant Yi Mo killed Taba Feiyong and used his skin to make the mask. Seeing her intense killing intent, Yi Mo really didn't have the mood to fight with her, and sighed. I want to see the Taba Feiyong I saw was fake. He wore a mask. Although I didn't spirit control that mask, I know it's definitely not made from Taba Feiyong's skin. Then, Yimo took out the mask and showed it to Shanning Yao. Shanning Yao sat down dejectedly. She believed that the real Taba Feiyong wasn't killed by Yimo. It was an instinct. Shanning Yao looked at the mask and said sadly, "You're right. You didn't kill Feiyong. Can you tell me about how you killed that imposter?" Yimo didn't hide this and just said what happened at Mu Hua God Mountain. "Thank you, Brother Yi. You helped Feiyong get revenge." Shanning Yao gave the mask back to Yimo and bowed. Yimo respected her quite a lot. She thought he was only an immortal emperor, but was still willing to bow to him. "This is what I got from the fake Taba Feiyong. I have no use for it. If it belongs to your martial brother Feiyong, then have it." Yimo took out the cracked 6 glory soul light. Shanning Yao exclaimed again and grabbed it. Her tone sniffed. Clearly, the magic artifact belonged to the real Taba Feiyong. Seeing her so sad, Yimo got up and said, "Goddessing Yao, you will be leaving now." "Wait." Shanning Yao came back to her senses and rubbed her eyes. Her actions also made Yimo think she was not a divine emperor, but an ordinary woman. To many divine emperors, this action meant an unfirm mind, but in Yimo's eyes, it was someone who was still alive and had emotions. Shanning Yao said again, "Thank you for bringing this magic artifact to me. I don't have anything good to give Brother Yi. Yunhui Qianbei is going to Chongfei Divine Dao City. We're going there too." Yimo knew what she meant. She wanted to bring him to the Shan Du God estate and give him some rewards, but Yimo wasn't interested in such things. "Not good." Yimo suddenly thought of something and dashed out in a light and disappeared. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2090, Don't Think Too Much of Yourself. Chapter 2090, Don't Think Too Much of Yourself. What's not good? Before she finished, Shanning Yao realized that Yimo had disappeared from her. She just realized that even as a Tao molding divine emperor, she didn't see how Yimo left. Yimo's heart was burning now. When she said the Yunhui divine emperor of the immortal goddess sacred sect was at Chongfei Divine Dao City, he reacted. Lei Yuehe and Zhu Wenmao were doing things for him in the city. He hadn't gone to immortal goddess sacred sect to mention Lei Yuehe to Ji Shi yet, and there was a divine emperor from immortal goddess sacred sect there. Lei Yuehe was a mere immortal emperor. She wouldn't be able to resist a divine emperor at all. If that divine emperor realized that Lei Yuehe disobeyed the sect rules, perhaps she would kill Lei Yuehe on the spot. Even if she didn't, she would remove her power. Lei Yuehe might have a chance to live, but Zhu Wenmao, who seduced Lei Yuehe, would have zero chance to live. Yimo didn't believe the immortal goddess sacred sect was truly sacred. He had seen hypocrites all too much, just from how they invited other divine emperors to watch the ceremony to draw hatred to Great Sun God Mountain meant something. At this moment, Yimo used space-time boat to its extreme speed. If it wasn't that the space here was too unstable, he would even use instant transmission. At the city gates, 20 or so divine emperors stood on the two sides. A gray-robed, pretty woman walked down from the air. Some immortal emperors and below could only stand behind respectfully. "Welcome Yunhui Qianbei. Welcome Yunhui Divine Emperor." This gray-robed pretty woman was immortal goddess sacred sect's Yunhui Divine Emperor. Just looking at the city greeted her, one would know how liked the immortal goddess sacred sect was. Yunhui smiled to these divine emperors and nodded. This divine chi formed Dao wave rings behind her back, making her seem more sacred, as though she had the utmost beauty and loving chi. Some weak-powered immortal emperors didn't even dare to look her straight in the eye. To them, Yunhui was too beautiful that they didn't dare to show any disrespect. "Thank you, everyone. Our immortal goddess sacred sect will protect the divine Dao realm till the end," Yunhui said casually. At this moment, Zhu Wenmao and Lei Yuehe, who were hiding in an immortal rest tower, had their faces turned pale as paper. They would have never imagined that before Yimo came back, the immortal goddess sacred sect Yunhui Divine Emperor came. Yunhui Divine Emperor detests immortal goddesses who aren't impure. Lei Yuehe wasn't scared of death, but she was so scared of Yunhui Divine Emperor that she couldn't talk. Zhu Wenj grabbed her hand and said, Yuehe, sorry. I'm so useless. I brought this to you. I didn't even have the chance to rebuild Suyu Divine Dao, and then I brought disaster to you. Lei Yuehe hugged Zhu Wenmao tightly, Brother Wenmao. We can die together. I don't want to fall into martial Uncle Yunhui's hands. That would be worse than death. Zhu Wenmao sighed. He couldn't even protect his own woman. He didn't know what was the point of him cultivating all these years. Yuehe, we'll be Dao partners next time, Zhu Wenmao said, and then was about to suicide. Wait, Brother Wenmao? Lei Yuehe stopped him. Lei Yuehe put his hand on her chest and said shakily, Brother Wenmao, Martial Uncle Yunhui is at the city gates. It will be a while before she finds us. I haven't been your Dao partner yet. I really want to do it once. Lei Yuehe's tone was shaky and her face went red. Once you made up your mind, you have much less fear. Zhu Wenmao dazed. Before he could speak, he heard a sneer, and a huge essence chi hand grabbed them out. Thud thud. They were thrown at the city gates. Everyone immediately dazed. They didn't understand why Yunhui Divine Emperor threw out 2 Divine Emperors on the ground. I recognized them. One seemed to be an immortal goddess, sacred sect, immortal goddess. What's going on? Some people discussed in the crowd. Yunhui's temperament and royal look was a bit hideous due to anger. She pointed at the 2 and said coldly, This woman dares to pretend to be our immortal goddess sacred sect member and dares to ruin our immortal goddess sacred sect reputation. I was wondering why an immortal goddess was with a man. So she's a fake. Of course, which immortal goddess do you see having a Dao partner? Immortal goddesses are sacred. How can they be with a man? This woman is so evil. She dares to ruin the immortal goddess sacred sect's reputation. She deserves to die. The crowd was furious and about to kill the 2. Yunhui's hideous face eased up a bit. She said slowly, This man is trying to ruin the reputation of the immortal goddess sacred sect with this fake immortal goddess sacred sect woman. I'm going to kill him, but I have to take this woman back to immortal goddess sacred sect for interrogation. Why did she impose as our immortal goddess sacred sect member? It's immortal goddess sacred sect after all. They're so magnanimous, he's only going to die. Yeah, if it's someone else, it would definitely be burning their souls and annihilating it completely. Of course, the divine sect is magnanimous, unlike others. People discussed heavily outside the city. Only some experienced immortals saw through some things, but they said nothing. Most immortals were cursing the 2 deserved to die. Zhu Wenmao gritted his teeth and wanted to speak up for Lei Yuehe before he died, but he was suppressed by this invisible power, making him not able to say a word. Go to your next life. Don't do something this immortal in your next life, Yunhui said and shot a beam at Zhu Wenmao's dantian. The 2 saw the beam shot over, but there was nothing they could do. At this moment, all the immortals outside the city suddenly felt a space wave. Before they could realize what happened, they heard a thud. Those weaker immortals were confused, as that wasn't the sound of dantian breaking. But soon they saw that the beam didn't shoot at Zhu Wenmao's dantian, but a fist that came down from nowhere. Thud! There was another huge explosion, and the sturdy ground outside the city had a huge ravine. Ripples appeared in space too. A blue figure landed at this moment and stamped. The ravine outside the city disappeared. The powerful essence chi backlashed. Yunhui stared dazedly at Yemo, who stood in front of Zhu Wenmao, and Lei Yuehe, and asked dazedly after a while, Who are you? How dare you stop the divine sect in their business? At this moment, people saw that the beam was blocked by a fist. This blue-robed man actually stopped the beam from a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. This speak was unheard of. He's just an immortal emperor? Everyone was more shocked when they saw Yemo was only an immortal emperor. No one believed this. Are you guys okay? Yemo ignored Yunhui and removed her restriction. Zhu Wenmao reacted and got up in surprise and joy. Thank you, Qianbei, for helping. Wanbei is fine. Lei Yue got up and said dejectedly, Wanbei is fine, thank you, Qianbei. Yunhui was furious seeing that Yi Mo ignored her, but thinking about how Yi Mo's fist, she resisted the urge to fight and sneered, "Who are you? You stopped the immortal goddess sacred sect. Do you want to fight against the entire divine Tao realm?" Yi Mo laughed. "All you talk about is immortal goddess sacred sect. Do you want to use immortal goddess sacred sect to scare me? Acting against the immortal goddess sacred sect is acting against the entire divine Tao realm. Do you think you're a spring onion or garlic? Don't think so highly of yourself." Then, Yi Mo's smile went away as he said coldly, "Zhu Wenmao is my friend. You old bastard dare to attack him. I haven't gone to look for your trouble yet, and you dare to accuse me first. Is the immortal goddess sacred sect very amazing? Your immortal goddess sacred sect owes me something and still haven't returned it. Piss off before my mood goes bad." Yunhui's face was pale white. She had never been treated like this. How could she take it? "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters." Chapter 2091, Smash Away. Chapter 2091, Smash Away. If people didn't see Yi Mo's punch, people would have gone up to challenge Yi Mo already, but from how Yi Mo punched, it was obvious that Yi Mo was no weaker than Yunhui Divine Emperor at all. It would be suicide for ordinary people to go up. Although there were so many people here, welcoming Yunhui Divine Emperor and respecting the immortal goddess sacred sect, not many wanted to come up and die for them. Yunhui was shaking with anger, but she didn't attack. She really wanted to kill Yi Mo immediately, but Yi Mo attacked later and arrived first, punching her wind-fire lethal beam in one punch. He was no weaker than her. Even though she only used 30% power, she didn't feel she had won for sure. If she couldn't beat Yi Mo, it would be a huge blow to the immortal goddess sacred sect. This time, she came to gather momentum and force for the immortal goddess sacred sect. Yunhui didn't fight, but Yi Mo didn't intend on letting her go. He told her to piss off just so he could get her to attack him. Yi Mo didn't expect her to be this forbearing, but even so, Yi Mo was going to make her attack first. The immortal goddess sacred sect was this well received. If he attacked first, then even if he had reason on his side, he would have the disadvantage. If everyone felt he had no reason, then it wasn't good no matter how strong he was. He was going to rebuild the Suyu Divine Tao sect. He would need the help of the city. He couldn't offend the entire city. Yi Mo ignored Yunhui and saluted with his fist to everyone. "Everyone, justice is among our hearts. Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect is the #1 sect of the Divine Tao realm, and theoretically they should be upholding justice in the Divine Tao realm and not abuse the weak. Many people might think that my friend is wrong and deserves death for offending the divine sect. Okay, even if they deserve to die, then at least give the person a chance to speak. I'll let Zhu Wenmao explain why this high-status divine sect divine emperor wants to kill him. If he's indeed wrong, and the immortal goddess sacred sect divine emperor still wants to kill him, I won't say anything. I believe, as the immortal goddess sacred sect divine emperor, you would not give my friend a chance to speak, right?" Yi Mo sneered at Yunhui. "Of course, you can pretend to not hear it and leave now, but if you do, then it means you were indeed abusing the weak before. That is extremely shameless. If the divine sect has such people, then I believe everyone in the divine Tao realm would be extremely disappointed." Hearing this, everyone stayed silent. No one agreed to disagree publicly. It was very natural for the accused to speak up for himself. Yi Mo knew the opportunity had formed, and he said to Zhu Wenmao, "Brother Wenmao, how did you offend the immortal goddess sacred sect? Why is the respected divine sect divine emperor killing you? Speak up, there's plenty of people here." People aren't dumb, they can differ between right or wrong. If you did indeed offend the immortal goddess sacred sect, I can't help you. Of course, Zhu Wenmao knew what Yi Mo meant. He looked up and said, "That's right. I'm an oast, but I didn't do anything to offend the immortal goddess sacred sect. I fell in love with Yueha, and we love each other. Yueha is indeed the immortal goddess of the immortal goddess sacred sect, but what right does this divine emperor master have to accuse us of framing the immortal goddess sacred sect, say she's not an immortal goddess and not even let us speak? Yemo stood up and said again, Lei Yueha is an immortal goddess sacred sect member. I'm going to the immortal goddess sacred sect this time to help her leave. This divine emperor of the immortal goddess sacred sect is speaking blind words with open eyes. Yemo then said to Lei Yueha, Yueha, are you an immortal goddess of the immortal goddess sacred sect? Lei Yueha clenched her teeth and said, Wanbei is indeed an immortal goddess of the immortal goddess sacred sect. Wanbei went against the sect rules. This has nothing to do with Wenmao. Yemo was speechless. This Lei Yueha was too honest. She's an idiot to say she went against the sect rules now. Yunhuai's face was green. She stared coldly at Lei Yueha and said, You were an immortal goddess, but now anymore. You were kicked out of the immortal goddess sacred sect. The immortal goddess sacred sect doesn't have a shameless bitch like you. You putrid revolting mess. People immediately began discussing. This meant that Yunhuai was lying before. She said that Lei Yueha wasn't an immortal goddess and imposed as one. But now she kicked Lei Yueha out of the sect. Yemo spat and stared at Yunhuai in contempt. Do you have any face? Putrid revolting mess? Are you not born from a mother? Or are you a female monkey that came out of a rock? You're saying it's disgusting for male and female to fall in love. Are you saying your parents are putrid revolting mess too? If your dad didn't fuck your mom, can you come out? Stop being a hypocrite. You're the most disgusting. Yemo's words were so mean that Yunhuai's face changed rapidly. The surrounding people were dazed upon hearing this too. Go die. Yunhuai could no longer contain her fury and waved out light, while expanding her divine emperor domain like crazy. The people nearby quickly retreated. Even some divine emperors retreated too. 108 wind, fire, sand turned into ripples that completely surrounded Yemo. It was like the heavens were smashing down on Yemo. Yemo sneered. Yunhuai's power was the weakest of all Tao nourishment divine emperors he had seen. Plus, he was many times stronger than before. Yemo didn't even release Isu and just smashed out a few hand signs. He couldn't even be bothered using domain. Ice space god art. It was infinitely close to a great god art. This was the first time Yemo used it after learning it at the life-crippling desert. The nearby space seemed to have paused, and this bone-eroding frost flow blew out like the wind. Even Tao molding divine emperor felt cold, and the immortal emperors retreated quickly while thinking what god art this was. It created such a terrifying frost flow. The space around Yunhuai and Yemo seemed to have completely froze. The 108 wind, fire, sand seemed to have been frozen and instantly slowed down until pausing. Yunhuai's domain also began to crack open. Crack space seemed like an icy river that completely froze and then cracked open. The fire, wind, sand was like falling leaves that had lost its life and slowly fell down. Yunhuai's face was pale and murmured, What god art is this? But Yemo didn't answer her and punched. Thud! Yunhuai's domain cracked open. Yemo's punch landed on her chest. She spat a mouthful of blood and flew out. Tao essence, divine emperor? That's the only thought Yunhuai had in her mind. Yemo was definitely Tao essence, divine emperor. Otherwise, how could he so easily smash her away? She knew that Yemo didn't want to kill her with that punch, or she would have cracked apart already. Even though she was extremely heavily injured, Yunhuai didn't dare to land. She turned around and dashed away immediately. Yemo sneered and couldn't be bothered chasing. He never intended to kill this woman. The immortal goddess sacred sect was very big, and he didn't have any big conflicts with them. He didn't need to kill Yunhuai and have conflict with the sect. All the immortals who witnessed this battle took in a cold breath. What power was this? One god art and a punch smashed away a Tao nourishment divine emperor and almost killed her. This power was terrifying. Shanning Yao immediately chased over after she saw Yemo leave the market. She was a bit slower than Yemo, but saw how Yemo easily defeated Yunhuai. If Yemo didn't show mercy, Yunhuai would have been killed. Shanning Yao took in a cold breath. Yunhuai was a Tao nourishment divine emperor, and Yemo Clearly, he reached Divine Emperor too, but she just couldn't tell before. Read the next chapter on our VIP novel. Calm, he's just as terrifying as before. Shan and Yao thought about how Yi Mo killed half-divines like chickens. Those divine emperors saw Yi Mo's power, and all came up to greet him. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Immortal friends, I won't comment on the good or bad of the immortal goddess sacred sect, but everyone saw this woman. She's extremely shameless and twists the truth. I didn't kill her today because of the immortal goddess sacred sect. Yi Mo then said loudly, Zhu Wenmao and Lei Yuehe are my friends. They need to buy some materials in the city. Please don't trouble them on my account. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2092, Lose Virginity. Chapter 2092, Lose Virginity. Brother Yi, you vindicated Tao indeed, and you progressed so fast. I'm the from at the bottom of the well. I actually thought you were still an immortal emperor. Shan Yingyao saluted with her fists. Goddess Yingyao vindicated Tao too. Yi Mo laughed and saluted with his fists. Shan Yingyao knew she was a far cry from Yi Mo and asked Brother Yi, are you going to the immortal goddess sacred sect? Why don't we go together? Yi Mo, sound transmission, Goddess Yingyao. If you trust me, then don't go to the immortal goddess sacred sect. Why? Shan Yingyao locoed at Yi Mo with confusion. I don't know the reason exactly. Yi Mo was only guessing, but of course he wouldn't tell her his guess. I'll listen to you. Shan Yingyao didn't keep asking and instantly chose to believe Yi Mo. Yi Mo gave her this mysterious feeling. She didn't know just how powerful he was. Such person was very terrifying. She would rather not go to immortal goddess sacred sect than leave Yi Mo was the impression that she didn't trust him. Yi Mo nodded and approved of her wisdom. If she went to the immortal goddess sacred sect, she would be used by the sect. Yi Qianbei, Lei Yuehe came up and called. She was truly grateful to Yi Mo. Call me Brother Yi. I'm going to the immortal goddess sacred sect. You and Wenmao keep buying materials like I said before. I believe no one would dare to touch you guys now. Yi Mo waved his hand. Shan Yao quickly said, Brother Yi, don't worry, just go. I will stay at the city. Yi Mo knew that Shan Yao wanted to thank him and didn't reject. After all, Lei Yuehe and Zhu Wenmao was too weak. He was quite assured with Shan Yao staying here. Martial Brother Yi, Lei Yuehe sound transmission to Yi Mo. I heard that the new saint of the divine sect has lost her virginity. Although the divine sect has means to hide it, the great sun god mountain would definitely realize it when they sacrifice her. There would definitely be a huge battle between the great sun god mountain and immortal goddess sacred sect. If Martial Brother Yi is going over. Hearing this, Yi Mo immediately knew that his guess was correct. The immortal goddess sacred sect was doing exactly what he imagined. Don't worry, I've long thought of this. The immortal goddess sacred sect would intentionally take in a woman who has lost her virginity. They're quite planned. Yi Mo looked down on this immortal goddess sacred sect. The lives of ordinary sect members were insects to them. Lei Yuehe continued to sound transmission that Mu Xiaoyan wasn't intentionally taken in. It said she came from the immortal realm and was taken in as disciple by martial Uncle Qilon. Just when she reached great unity immortal. What did you say? What is that saint called? The veins on Yi Mo's head burst as he grabbed Lei Yuehe hideously and asked coarsely. Lei Yuehe was fraught by Yi Mo's state and quickly said, she's called Mu Xiaoyan. She came with the sect members called Luo Biyue. Before she finished, she felt more space ripple and Yi Mo was gone. He actually used transmission at the divine Tao broken realm. Martial Brother Yi, Lei Yuehe murmured and then stopped. She realized that this Yi Mo Qian Bei must have close relationship with this Mu Xiaoyan. They might even be Tao partners. Lei Yuehe sighed. The immortal goddess sacred sect formed another great enemy, but there was nothing she could do. Yinhuai was furious, but she was no match for Yi Mo. Even if Yi Mo pointed her nose and beat her, she would have to run away. That punch damaged her meridians. If she didn't repair her meridians quickly, it would affect her future cultivation. After dashing another million km, Yunhui stopped in a barren land and spotted another mouthful of essence blood. She cursed even more in her heart. Just when Yunhui wanted to open a temporary cultivation home, another dashing light went past her head. Yunhui was shook. Normally, she wouldn't care about it at all. From the looks of it, it was just an immortal emperor tertiary stage. But now, she was no match for an immortal emperor. Of course, if she fought with her life, she didn't fear immortal emperors. But if she did, that she would never be able to reach Tao actualization, divine emperor in her life. Just when Yunhui was praying for that light to disappear, it came back and landed before Yunhui. Qianbei, are you the divine emperor master of the immortal goddess sacred sect? A good-looking middle-aged man landed. He seemed dominant, but his tone was humble. Yunhui sneered, yes. What business do you have? Wanbei Feng Kong, I see that Qianbei seems to be injured. Wanbei has long admired Iggs. I'm willing to serve Qianbei. Feng Kong said in a genuine tone. He didn't even dare to look up. Yunhui's face eased up, and she said, no need, just go. My injuries are nothing. Yunhui was a Tao nourishment divine emperor, but her calculations were nothing compared to Feng Kong. Feng Kong just used one sentence to get out the fact that Yunhui was heavily injured. Then Wanbei will leave. Feng Kong saluted with his fists and seemed even more respectful. Yunhui nodded happily. The fame of the immortal goddess sacred sect was still there. Even with what happened at the Changfei Divine Tao City, it might not affect the big plan for immortal goddess sacred sect. Just when she relaxed, Feng Kong suddenly released a blue beam. A huge word, Idlo, instantly surrounded Yunhui. If Yimo was here, he would know this was Feng Kong's lethal blow, the primordial six-word god, art used by the soul-robbing blue cloud brush. It was twice as strong as before and extremely rapid. It instantly surrounded Yunhui. The killing intent activated the nearby space lethal force, forming an ancient killing intent, and smashed on Yunhui. Yunhui spat a mouthful of essence blood and said hatefully, how dare you? Feng Kong instantly sealed Yunhui and carried her away from this barren lands. When Feng Kong came to the divine Tao realm, he realized that Tao vindication was extremely hard here. Now that he saw the divine emperor of immortal goddess sacred sect, how can he let her go? If she was just ordinary immortal goddess, he wouldn't be interested at all, but Yunhui was a divine emperor and one who kept her virginity. If he gave up such opportunity, he wouldn't be Feng Kong Grand Emperor. He was a mortal emperor peak stage and just one step from Tao vindication. Of course, he was going to take her virginity gladly and use it to vindicate Tao. 15 minutes later, Yunhui was tortured awake by Feng Kong. She immediately noticed the strange feeling of her body. It was this indescribable feeling. It seemed to be joy and sadness at the same time. She immediately saw Feng Kong Grand Emperor, who was on her, and felt the virginity she had kept for countless years gradually leave her. At this moment, she almost fell unconscious again. Arg! Yunhui burned her god essence and punched. Feng Kong knew Yunhui woke up, but he was at the crucial moment of taking her virginity essence. He couldn't avoid that punch. It landed on his chest, and he spat a mouthful of blood. Even just a sliver of qi of a Tao nourishment divine emperor was extremely terrifying. No matter how fallen Yunhui was, she was still a Tao nourishment divine emperor. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2093 Charge the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect in Fury. Chapter 2093 Charge the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect in Fury, seeing the terrifying qi on Yunhui. Feng Kong, who was heavily injured, no longer dared to stay. He got what he wanted. Whether or not he could reach Divine Emperor all depended on his luck and effort. When Feng Kong fled, Yunhui's face was hideous. She detested immortal goddesses who lost their virginity, but this thing now happened on her. What was even more cursed was that other immortal goddesses willing lost their virginity while she was forced. At the immortal goddess peak, Mu Xiaoyan dazedly sat at her cultivation grounds. She didn't know what to do anymore. She noticed something wrong. She was not only not allowed to see her master, and wasn't even allowed to see martial sister Biyue. She couldn't go anywhere other than the immortal goddess peak. Mu Xiaoyan, Ji Shi's voice sounded behind Mu Xiaoyan. Mu Xiaoyan woke up. Ji Shi sighed. Although she was much stronger than Mu Xiaoyan, she didn't stealth her chi. Mu Xiaoyan reacted this slowly, meaning that she understood her situation a bit, but just didn't know what to do. Martial sister Shi. Mu Xiaoyan quickly got up. Ji Shi hesitated for a moment and asked, "Do you know that the Great Sun God Mountain people are here? Do they want me to go to the Great Sun God Mountain now? Did the sect leader already agree?" Mu Xiaoyan asked calmly. She could know about this because Luo Biyue risked her life to find out about it. "Yes, I was thinking of ways to help you during this time, but even the sect leader didn't expect the Great Sun God Mountain to make us send the saint over ahead of time," Ji Shi said apologetically. She knew that the Great Sun God Mountain wasn't dumb. They could think of what the immortal goddess sacred sect thought of. Mu Xiaoyan shook her head. "Martial sister Shi, you don't owe me anything, so you don't need to help me. You can't help me anyways." Ji Shi fell into silence again. "Xiaoyan, I really do owe you. Or perhaps I owe your husband Yimo." "He what?" Mu Xiaoyan suddenly got up and grabbed Ji Shi shakily. She really wanted to say, "Hurry up and tell me where my husband is. Where is Yimo?" But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't speak a word. Ji Shi sighed for Mu Xiaoyan and sent an essence chi over to calm her down before saying, "Xiaoyan, don't worry. I know indeed. I just didn't tell you last time. I was planning to tell you about this today." Mu Xiaoyan could finally talk. She said shakily, "Martial sister Shi, please tell me where Yimo is." Ji Shi didn't said, "I owe Yimo, but I can't pay him back. It's the same if I give it to you, but the Great Sun God Mountain people are about to take you away. The results are same regardless if you know where Yimo is." Mu Xiaoyan felt like she was poured a bucket of cold water. She dazed. She was about to be taken away. So what if she knew where her husband was? Could she go? Mu Xiaoyan soon cast that thought aside. She just wanted to know about Yimo now. This was as important as life and death to her. "I really want to take you out of the immortal goddess sacred sect," Ji, she said slowly. "Huh." Mu Xiaoyan dazed. She didn't expect this at all. If she took her out, wouldn't she be able to see her husband Yimo immediately? At this moment, she was willing to give her life to Ji Shi just to see her husband again. Ji Shi said sadly, "But I don't have such power. Plus, even if I do, I can't do that. I can only tell you where your husband went and give to you what I owe him." Mu Xiaoyan finally woke up. Her face calmed down, and she bowed to Ji Shi. "Please tell me, martial sister Ji Shi, where is my husband Yimo? I just want to know that he is safe, and then I won't worry." Mu Xiaoyan had made up her mind that she would kill herself later. She would be very satisfied to know that her husband is fine. There's definitely no good in going to Great Sun God Mountain. If she was going to be insulted at Great Sun God Mountain, she might as well end herself. G11 could see Mu Xiaoyan's death wish, but she didn't remind Mu Xiaoyan. No matter what, she wasn't going to let Mu Xiaoyan kill herself. If Mu Xiaoyan killed herself, then Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect would be in a very bad situation. Your husband might have fell into the life-crippling river. You might not know about it, but from what I know, even a Tao Essence Divine Emperor would certainly die if he fell in. She didn't even finish, but Mu Xiaoyan felt her eyes go black. Even though she was a great immortal, it didn't matter. She felt like her body and soul had left her, pulled away by Ji Shi's words. Yimo used instant transmission the whole way. Using instant transmission in a place like Divine Tao Realm was like carrying your head in your hands. Even though Yimo was lucky, he was devoured by Space Fisher 4 times. If he didn't have Spirit Sense Domain, he wouldn't even know where he would be now. He was also sliced off a large piece of flesh by Space Disposition. Usually, it would take a few days to reach the outside of Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, but Yimo only used less than half a day to get to the outskirts of Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. Divine Sect Region, stop. 2 blue-figured people stopped Yimo. These two were immortal emperors. Where is Mu Xiaoyun? Yi Mo's eyes were red as he yelled with murderous intent. There is no Mu Xiaoyun here. Leave the immortal goddess, sacred sect, range immediately. Another immortal goddess yelled. Yi Mo didn't get the answer he wanted, so he couldn't be bothered wasting time with these two. He kicked twice, and both immortal goddesses were kicked away, unable to do anything. They spat blood like crazy and flew back. Who dares to be cocky at the divine sect? Another blue light landed in front of Yi Mo. This was a tall woman, Tao molding divine emperor. She was the tall woman who wanted to kill Mu Xiaoyun when she saw that Mu Xiaoyun had lost her virginity. Yi Mo's force rose as his killing intent soared through the clouds and yelled, "Where is Mu Xiaoyun? Where did this wild dog come from? Leave the immortal goddess sacred sect immediately. This is not a place where you can find a bitch." The tall, Tao molding divine emperor said as she released a blue long sword. Seeing that she dared to insult Mu Xiaoyun, Yi Mo couldn't even be bothered saying a word. He threw out the 36 lightning sea god orbs as well as releasing ice space. This space was already controlled by Yi Mo's divine emperor domain. With the ice space binding, this space was instantly frozen. Even Yunhui had to flee under Yi Mo's ice sky. A Tao molding divine emperor immortal goddess couldn't do anything under this. Before she came back to her sense, the 36 orbs smashed over. Waves of lightning flashed. It was like killing mosquitoes with cannons. Shenhayan didn't even have a small piece of her remaining. Yi Mo didn't even have the mood to pick up her storage ring and charged into the immortal goddess sacred sect. At this moment, the sect formation hadn't closed yet. Lightning sea god orbs at the top seat of the guest palace. A purple-robed woman stared at Yi Mo in fury. Yi Mo killed Shenhayan in just a second. She didn't even have the time to save her. Then this purple-robed woman got up. Her face was green. Someone was this crazy and dared to kill Tao molding divine emperor in this immortal goddess sacred sect. Sect leader Ji, why are you so furious? Another Tao actualization divine emperor peak stage man got up. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2094 Most Powerful Mean. Chapter 2094 Most Powerful Mean the immortal goddess sacred sect could shield from spirit sense. Ji Sini could see clearly what happened outside, but the rest of the people in this guest palace didn't know. The man who got up was a divine emperor from the great sun god mountain. Despite the immortal goddess sacred sect not allowing men to come in, they couldn't stop the people from great sun god mountain coming. Yueha, tell the Grand Elder that there's someone who barged into our sect and broke our outer defense formation. He also killed out sect's Tao molding divine emperor Shenhayan. Ji Sini said with extreme fury. Great Sun God Mountain was this cocky and still tried to find an excuse to attack them, but this bastard didn't have any excuse and just killed Tao molding divine emperor in the sect. Since when was the immortal goddess sacred sect so easily abused? When Ji Sini's spirit sense scanned to Yi Mo immediately noticed it. Her chi was much stronger than that Tao molding divine emperor. Yi Mo just flew into the depth of the sect. Yi Mo knew that the saints of the immortal goddess sacred sect stayed at immortal goddess peak, but he didn't know which one was the peak. However, he was a top-level formation grandmaster and understood the arrangements of the main peaks. Yi Mo had no concerns at all now. His spirit sense blades and spirit sense beams ravaged the sect. The powerful spirit sense barrier formations were torn open with brute force by Yi Mo. In a very short time, Yi Mo found the approximate direction. Yi Mo was very desperate. He went where he wanted not because he was very strong, but because he attacked suddenly and the immortal goddess sacred sect hadn't reacted yet. If they reacted, he would be at the disadvantage. Even now, a few powerful spirit sense locked onto him and were getting closer. An extremely powerful spirit sense scanned over from afar and pierced onto Yi Mo's spirit sense domain. Even though Yi Mo's spirit will 9 transformations reach level 5 and had his simple spirit sense realm, he couldn't help shiver under this powerful spirit sense. Even the immortal goddess peak stage body couldn't endure such piercing from this spirit sense. This was definitely a Tao essence master. Yi Mo's heart sunk. He knew that immortal goddess sacred sect had Tao essence divine emperor, but didn't expect she would be out this quickly. He wasn't even scared of Tao actualization divine emperor peak stage, but if a Tao actualization divine emperor came, it would be impossible for him to take away Mu Xiaoyan quickly. He had to avoid direct contact with Tao essence divine emperor, or he would sink himself in the set too. No matter how powerful Three Birth chant was, it couldn't allow a Tao molding divine emperor to fight a Tao essence divine emperor. Perhaps if Yi Mo kept cultivating, he would be able to beat Tao essence divine emperor with Tao nourishment divine emperor power. Three Birth chant stealth method was to transform yourself into everything. It could help avoid Tao essence divine emperor lockdown. Yi Mo instantly changed direction and stealthed himself. A mere Tao molding divine emperor, hiding his power to immortal emperor, and you dare to startle me? Has the immortal goddess sacred sect fallen to this degree? In a distant cultivation home in the sect, an unhappy voice sounded. Yi Mo was full of killing intent, and his essence chi spilled. That Tao essence divine emperor saw through Yi Mo's real cultivation level. Yueha is worried. That person killed Martial Sister Heian in just a few moves, sect leader. The Grand Elder interrupted, go tell Ji Sini. If she needs me to go for a Tao molding divine emperor, there's no point of her being a sect leader, and there's no point for our sect to exist. Might as well just dissipate now. Yes, sect leader, Shu Yueha replied respectfully and left carefully. This Grand Elder would never expect that Yi Mo was a Tao molding divine emperor who could easily kill Tao nourishment divine emperor and fight with Tao actualization divine emperor. She took away her spirit sense too early, or she would find that it was extremely hard for her to find Yi Mo's tracks too. What is going on? Ji Sini stood before the immortal goddess peak with a green face. The two immortal goddesses who were kicked by Yi Mo stood before her. Sect leader, a man who is very powerful, is looking for Mu Xiaoyan. Martial Sister Heian was killed in a few moves by him. They said shakily. Hearing Mu Xiaoyan, Ji Sini frowned. You're saying he's here for Mu Xiaoyan? What's his name? I don't know. The immortal goddess said worriedly. Ji Sini even forgot to find Yi Mo. She suddenly had a bad feeling. Mu Xiaoyan was just in solo cultivator from the immortal realm. How could she have such a powerful friend in the divine Tao realm? Sect leader, the Grand Elder said, she said that it's only a Tao molding divine emperor if our divine sect no longer needs to exist. Shu Yue flew over and said, I understand. Ji Sini waved her hand. If a mere Tao molding divine emperor needed the Tao essence divine emperor of the immortal goddess sacred sect to intervene, then this immortal goddess sacred sect was too weak. Master, Ji Shi who got news came from the immortal goddess peak. Ji Sini recounted what happened and asked Ruashi, who do you think this person is? According to what I know, he might be a very insane Tao molding divine emperor. His power would be no weaker than mine. Even the Grand Elder thinks he's only a Tao molding divine emperor, but he could instantly kill Han. This is unexplainable. Then Ji Sini said to the two immortal goddesses, draw out the image of this person. Ji Shi knew what her master meant. She was asking her if this Tao molding divine emperor was related to Mu Xiaoyan's husband. The two agreed and waved their hands, drawing out Yi Mo's face in the air. Ji Shi looked dazedly at Yi Mo's face and said nothing. Seeing this, Ji Sini's heart sunk. She had a bad feeling. She said to the two, you two may leave first. After the two left, Ji Shi said slowly, Master, this person is Yi Mo. I didn't expect he could survive falling into the life-crippling river. He's too insane, Sai. Ji Shi's tone grew very heavy. Yi Mo could even kill Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor easily, much less a Tao Molding Divine Emperor. This person is very powerful and doesn't accept threats. He treats people who treat him nicely the same way. I couldn't notice his stealth cultivation method even now that our sect offended him. It's clearly a life or death situation. Ji-Sini frowned a lot and said after a while, Yimo is indeed powerful. I saw him kill Heian with my spirit sense. But his strongest magic artifact is the 36 lightning sea god orbs. If we suppress that, he wouldn't be able to escape. The Grand Elder is right. If I can't even handle a Tao molding divine emperor, then the immortal goddess sacred sect no longer needs to exist. What? She dazed. Even she didn't expect Yimo had 36 lightning sea god robs. Master, you're saying that Yimo's 36 lightning orbs were very powerful? She asked. Ji-Sini nodded. That's right. The 36 orbs are no weaker than prenatal spirit treasure. Perhaps it is prenatal spirit treasure. Its force is amazing. Before instant second power was activated, Heian was killed. Such deep calculations. She finally realized that the lightning orbs Emo took out at the Wooding Valley was fake. The real ones were already spirit controlled by him. It was fake, and that's why Emo took it out so generously. What's going on? Ji-Sini asked, seeing Jishi's face was so heavy. Jishi sighed. Master, Yemo's most powerful mean definitely isn't the lightning orbs, but something much more terrifying. What is it? Ji-Sini had this deep concern in her mind and asked desperately. It's Great Primordial God Rune. He knows Great God Art Great Primordial God Rune. Jishi's tone went coarse. She was worried about things happening with Mu Xiaoyan here. If there was one person Yi-Mo didn't want to be enemies with, that would be Yi-Mo. Every impossible thing became possible in his hands. Black Lake was spirit control. Wooding Valley was opened. The life-crippling bridge was crossed. The more she thought, the more scared she was. What? Ji-Sini called out in shock. She was shocked at Great Primordial God Rune. She said slowly, from what I guess, his most powerful mean isn't even Great Primordial God Rune. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2095 Depth of Prison Door Mountain. Chapter 2095 Depth of Prison Door Mountain. Ji-Sini heard of how terrifying Emo was from Jishi, but no matter how scary he was, he fell in the life-crippling river, so he was no longer scary. Now that Emo wasn't dead, she began to feel abysmal. The reason that she felt this was because she knew her disciple was very prideful. No matter how talented a prodigy, she didn't consider highly of him. But she looked so highly of this Emo. Great Primordial God Rune was a fearsome, ancient great god art. Those who heard its name were scared. Yet she said that Yemo's greatest means wasn't the Great Primordial God Rune. How could she calm down now? I believe any divine emperor would know how terrifying the Great Primordial God Rune is. Roshi, did you get things wrong? Yemo has a god art more powerful than Great Primordial God Rune? Then isn't our Tao Essence Divine Emperor no match for him? Ji-Sini asked. She said slowly, Master, I'm not saying Yemo has a god art stronger than the Great Primordial God Rune, but because he just learned the Great Primordial God Rune. Even if just learned it, ordinary divine emperors can't take on Great Primordial God Rune. Ji-Sini said. Jishi hesitated and said, I guess that Yemo has Golden Bow of Divine Extermination and has at least 3 arrows. What? Ji-Sini completely lost her calm. If Yemo completely spirit-controlled the arrow, then even she can't last 3 arrows. Master, you don't need to worry. Even if Yemo has Golden Bow of Divine Extermination, I believe he wouldn't be able to spirit-control it all. She comforted. Ji-Sini didn't think so lightly of this. Even if she defended against the 36 orbs and dodged the Great Primordial God Rune, can she dodge the golden arrow of divine extermination? This meant that she would most likely lose to Yemo, thinking about how she was a Tao actualization divine emperor peak stage, and yet was more likely to lose to a Tao molding divine emperor. Ji-Sini felt very defeated. Sect leader, I think we should give Xiaoyan back to Yemo, and Shu Yuez said. She knew the sect was in a dangerous spot. Great Sun God Mountain was up here, and now they offended Yimo. How is Mu Xiaoyan? Jisini knew that Mu Xiaoyan was the key, but there was no way she would give Mu Xiaoyan back to Yimo like this. No matter how strong Yimo was, he was just one person. Jisini was thinking about how to get Yimo to hate Great Sun God Mountain. That way they could avoid conflict with Yimo and send Great Sun God Mountain a big enemy. I've arranged Xiaoyan. Even if Yimo finds a mortal goddess peak, he wouldn't be able to find Xiaoyan. Plus, I've shut all the restrictions there. Yimo wouldn't be able to go in. She answered. Jisini nodded and just wanted to tell all the divine emperors of the immortal goddess sacred sect to gather, but more than 10 dashing lights already came. Clearly, the divine emperors of immortal goddess sacred sect already knew what happened. Wang Nanshuang's cultivation level was very high. She was also Tao Actualization Divine Emperor and was one who hated evil, martial Uncle Nanshuang. Jishi bowed. Wang Nanshuang sneered, is our immortal goddess sacred sect still the same sect as before? So what if the great sun god mountain is here? Why should our sect give a saint who lost her virginity to them? Sect leader, if this continues, what face does our sect have to exist in the divine Tao realm? Wang Nanshuang, how dare you reproach the sect leaders? Another woman yelled at Wang Nanshuang. Martial sister Nanshuang, Mu Xiaoyan isn't our real disciple. She's a woman who lost her virginity. Another Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor came out and said. Wang Nanshuang didn't seem to hear these two and sneered, we shouldn't have Mu Xiaoyan as saint in the first place. Since we did, we should treat her as the real saint and not give her to the great sun god mountain. Even if we drain our last blood, we shouldn't lower our heads to the great sun god mountain. Martial uncle, the person who charged into our sect and killed Heian isn't people from the great sun god mountain, but Xiaoyun's Tao partner. He's called Yimo, Shu Yueha explained. What? These divine emperors were shocked. They realized what happened. They wanted to sacrifice Mu Xiaoyun, and now her Tao partner was fighting over here. Wang Nanshuang's face was green. She felt this was a humiliation of the immortal goddess sacred sect. All those years ago, Saint Qing used her great mercy to sacrifice herself to save the entire divine Tao realm. Where did that ideology go? What did she see now? Can the current immortal goddess sacred sect even be called a divine sect? Sect leader, why don't we give Xiaoyan to the great sun god mountain divine emperor and then spill this news to Yimo? That way, Yimo would hunt that Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. That way, our sect can watch on the side. If Yimo kills that Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, it would be great, another Divine Emperor said. Shut up, can you only think of such ways? Do you not feel it's embarrassing? Since Yimo is here killing at our sect, we'll just kill him. Using Xiaoyan as a bait, is this something our sect should do? Wang Nanshuang's face worsened. Jisini felt very uncomfortable. She thought so too, but Wang Nanshuang's attitude didn't respect her as a sect leader at all. Yimo didn't dare to even scan his spirit sense, fearing he would be found BYT hat, Tao Essence Divine Emperor. The place he was at now suddenly went cold. Yimo didn't like this place. He didn't expect the immortal goddess sacred sect had such a place, but he didn't leave immediately. He was thinking about how to get into the immortal goddess peak. 15 minutes later, Yimo decided to send out his spirit sense. A short hill appeared in his spirit sense, and Yimo saw the 3 words Prison Door Mountain. This place was very bleak, and there was chaotic chi cutting at his spirit sense, making him feel very uncomfortable. The Yin fire kept invading his essence spirit. Yimo felt that if he stayed here fo long, his sea of consciousness would be heavily injured. Yimo's spirit sense went inside the mountain and noticed countless restrictions there. Some were clear, some were subtle, some were natural. A pale-faced, beautiful woman was locked up here. Her restrictions were simple. Yimo sighed. The immortal goddess sacred sect did all sorts of bad things in the dark. This woman definitely received the harshest punishment in the world. Even with his powerful spirit sense, he felt the countless Yin fire burning his essence spirit. How could ordinary people bear this place? The cold and impure chi made people's cultivation level drop. If a person locked up here was a primordial essence divine emperor, then with enough time, he would be dead for sure. Yemo didn't care about the locked-up woman. His spirit sense scanned another underground prison. There were all sorts of restrictions, but Yemo pierced them with his spirit sense blades. His spirit sense fell in the deepest and largest part of the mountain. There were black chains there. There were some bones under the chains. Yemo saw those bones and suddenly had this indescribable sad feeling. Yemo frowned. He wasn't planning to go there, but these few white bones changed his mind. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2096, Immortal Goddess Peak. Chapter 2096, Immortal Goddess Peak. The Immortal Goddess Peak would definitely be surrounded by the Tao Essence Divine Emperor Spirit Sense. Yemo had decided to take these few bones and metal chains. The prison door mountain had no one to guard it, and was at the depth of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. Yemo had no concerns. He already had conflict with the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. He didn't care at all. He charged in the depth of the prison door mountain quickly and broke into this cell. It was filled with fire invisible to the eye and even spirit sense. Yemo had never seen such terrifying fire. They seemed to be able to burn into the depth of the soul, making sea of consciousness and essence spirit cripple. Life disappeared quickly in this bleak fire. Such an evil place. Yemo didn't dare to stay here for long. He released Zissou and hacked on the black chains. Black sparks flew out, and there was just a shallow mark left on the chain. Yemo's heart sunk. He hacked Zissou with his full power, but couldn't even break some chains. These chains were too powerful. This was really troublesome for Yemo. If he knew this earlier, he would have spirit-controlled Murder Dao. If he spirit-controlled Murder Dao Spear, he would definitely be able to break the chains here. The white bones jumped around when Yemo hacked, and this gave Yemo a strange feeling of sadness. Yemo didn't see any heads here, just a few white bones locked by the chains. Because the fire was heavier in here, Yemo didn't hesitate and released Golden Bow of Divine Extermination. Yemo shot out 6 arrows in an extremely short time. Yemo had never shot with the Golden Bow of Divine Extermination at such a close range. The 6 consecutive exploded out annihilation chi that completely tore open the fire in the prison. Rumble, 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 rumble. The chains completely exploded. A feeling of weakness came. Yemo casually put away the golden bone arrows and took out an extremely big jade box, putting these white bone arrows inside. After this, Yemo didn't stop at all and smashed away the restrictions and flew out. At this moment, he was feeling weak. He had to recover first and then charge up the Immortal Goddess Peak. After Yemo charged halfway, a spirit sense came. You're Yemo. Yemo knew that the only live person in the entire place was that beautiful woman. Yemo felt strange and shocked that this woman knew his name. Theoretically, no one here knew he was called Yemo. There was only 2 people who knew his name was Yemo in the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. One was Lei Yueha, but she was at Changfei Divine Dao City. The other was Ji Shi, who should still be at the life-crippling Forbidden Grounds. How did this woman whom he had never seen before know him? Yemo stopped and asked this woman, "Who are you? How do you know my name? You're really Yemo?" The woman asked in surprise and joy. This woman was Lan Qilan. She just guessed and didn't expect this man was really Yemo. Shaoran had shown her an image of Yemo before, but there were way too many similar-looking people in the world. Plus, according to what Xiaoyan said, her husband should not be on the same level OT this man. Yemo frowned. "I'm Lan Qilan, Xiaoyan's master. Xiaoyan showed me your image, but your power level is heavens apart from what Shaoran said. That's why I'm suspicious." Lan Qilan calmed down. Yemo said slowly, "You're Xiaoyan's master. Why would you be locked up here? With the fire burning your soul, you would eventually die without a soul." Lan Qilan sighed. "Xiaoyan was no longer a virgin, but I took her in. Then, Marshall's sister Yunhui wanted to recommend Xiaoyan to be saint. I immediately objected, but Xiaoyan still couldn't get rid of that identity. But because I offended Marshall's sister Yunhui, I was locked up here. This bitch, if I knew this, I shouldn't have let her leave. I should have killed her. Yemo didn't expect Yunhui was behind Xiaoyan being a saint. If he saw Yunhui again, he would definitely not let her go. He had already offended the immortal goddess sacred sect. It didn't matter if he killed more. What? You fought with Marshall's sister Yunhui, and she was no match for you? Lan Qilan asked in shock. Then she started to think about how Yemo came in. Yemo fought with Yunhui and charged into the prison door mountain, clearly not through normal means. He probably fought his way in. Thinking about this, Yemo could kill Yunhui and slaughtered the immortal goddess sacred sect. Lan Qilan shivered. I'll save you. Yemo released Zisu. He felt the chains locking her were much weaker than the ones before. I don't need you to save me. Did you kill people in my sect? Lan Qilan's tone went cold. Yemo knew what she meant and sneered, killing your sect? Xiaoyan is used to be sent to the great sun god mountain as a sacrifice for the mountain. If I can't save Xiaoyan, do you think I will just be killing people at your sect? I will make the immortal goddess sacred sect disappear forever from the divine Tao realm and annihilate both the immortal goddess sacred sect and great sun god mountain. Then, Yemo sliced down with Zisu, and the chains instantly broke apart. The next moment, Yemo disappeared from this prison. He didn't care if Lan Qilan would come out. At this moment, Yemo just wanted to recover a bit and charge up the immortal goddess peak. 15 minutes later, Yemo stopped stealthing himself and dashed towards the immortal goddess peak. At the same time, Yemo locked onto the 36 lightning orbs and golden bow of divine extermination, ready to release them at any time. Stop! A blue figure landed before Yemo and released a strand of holy light wheel, but didn't attack first. Yemo didn't care. He would kill anyone who stopped him. Yemo was also shocked. The immortal goddess sacred sect was indeed powerful. This random person was a Tao actualization divine emperor. He waved out the 36 lightning orbs. Yemo didn't know that even the immortal goddess sacred sect only had 5 Tao actualization divine emperors. Seeing Yemo attack without talking, the woman was furious. Her holy light will smashed out like a huge spider web covering half the skies. Countless light emitted from the net. This was an extremely powerful Tao actualization divine emperor. Yemo could tell from her first god art. The stronger this person was, the quicker he had to kill her, or he would be trapped soon. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2097 Great Battle at Immortal Goddess Peak. Chapter 2097 Great Battle at Immortal Goddess Peak. The 36 lightning orbs shot out countless lightning. The rolling thunder completely covered the bottom of the Immortal Goddess Peak. Before, when Yemo killed the Tao molding divine emperor, the orb's power wasn't activated, but now it was fully released. The silken holy light wheel was the opposite to the lightning orbs. The tens of thousands of strands of light struck the lightning, creating this cracking sound. These sounds blasted ripples across the nearby space. Another rumble blasted open, and finally a fine crack in space appeared. The woman was smashed away a few km before stopping. Blood seeped out of the corner of her mouth. At the same time, she stared at Yemo with shock. She heard Yemo was only Tao molding divine emperor, but she didn't expect a Tao molding divine emperor was stronger than her. Yemo's heart sunk. He wasn't happy at all for having the upper hand. He used all 36 orbs, but this woman blocked it and left its attack range. If he didn't kill this woman, he definitely wouldn't be able to get on Immortal Goddess Peak. Yemo knew that he couldn't be stalled here. Yemo had decided to keep attacking her with the lightning orbs and then bind her before using Great Primordial God Rune to kill her. Just as Yemo thought, this woman released a white long sword. Stop! Just when they were going to keep fighting, a coarse voice sounded, and a figure landed. It was Mu Xiaoyan's master. She seemed to treat Mu Xiaoyan nicely, so Yi Mo stopped. The blue-robed woman stopped too, as she clearly knew that she was no match for Yi Mo. Yi Mo, you can't fight with martial sister Nanshuang. She offended a lot of people to stop Mu Xiaoyan from being saint. I don't know what happened later on, but I understand certain she didn't do anything wrong. Lan Qilan said genuinely. Wan Nanshuang looked at Lan Clan in confusion. Qilan, how did you come out? I cut her chains, Yi Mo said with a bit of embarrassment. He was planning to kill this woman when she was protecting Xiaoyan. Lan Qilan sighed. It has nothing to do with Yi Mo. I want to as the sect leader. Our immortal goddess sacred sect is no longer a divine sect. Even if the great sun god mountain attacks us, at most we die. What we're doing won't be approved by our martial ancestor and Saint Qing. Yi Mo was apologetic, but now wasn't the time for this. He quickly said, I'll be going first. I'll come to apologize later. Then, he instantly charged up the immortal goddess peak. The two didn't even have a time to stop her. Wan Nanshuang just wanted to stop Yi Mo, but Lan Qilan said, Martial sister Nanshuang, I feel it's better to let Yi Mo take Xiaoyan away. I left without planning to live. If the great sun god mountain uses this excuse to attack our immortal goddess sacred sect, then there's only death. Wan Nanshuang fell silent for a long while and sighed. In the immortal goddess peak, there were all sorts of restrictions and formations squeezed together. If it was someone else, he would definitely not be able to find Xiaoyan. But Yi Mo was different. He was a formation grandmaster, and his spirit will 9 transformations reached level 5 realm formation. Spirit sense god art was very easy, much less spirit sense blades. Yi Mo's spirit sense blades tore through everywhere with spirit sense god art and damaged the peak relentlessly. The thickly covered immortal goddess peak was instantly ruined. If Ji Sini was here, she might fight Yi Mo with her life. 10 seconds later, Yi Mo's heart sunk. He had damaged most of the restrictions on here, but he still didn't find Xiaoyan. After looking for another while, Yi Mo got the conclusion that Mu Xiaoyan was not here. Yi Mo's killing intent sword. Clearly, the immortal goddess sacred sect people moved Xiaoyan away because they knew he was here. Then don't blame him for slaughtering this place. So what if there was a Tao Essence Divine Emperor? He didn't believe a Tao Essence Divine Emperor could do anything to him. If he can't beat her, he can run. He would slaughter everywhere until the immortal goddess sacred sect gave Xiaoyan. Yi Mo, damaging the restrictions of the immortal goddess peak, immediately caught the attention of Ji Sini. She looked from afar and was shaking with anger. Since when was the immortal goddess sacred sect abused to this degree? She clearly sensed what Yi Mo was doing too. Her face looked bad. She was indeed concerned with Yi Mo, but this didn't mean Yi Mo could be this rude at the immortal goddess sacred sect. Just when Ji Sini wanted everyone to surround the immortal goddess peak and take Yi Mo down, a gray figure stumbled in. Yunhui. Ji Sini looked dazedly at this woman. It was Yunhui who dropped the Tao molding divine emperor. She dazed because she saw that Yunhui lost her virginity, and this was not long ago. She even has a sliver of male qi on her. Ji Sini noticed this too, and clearly all the other divine emperors did. At this moment, this place was silent. Yunhui hated women who lost their virginity he most, but now she did too, and she came back to the immortal goddess sacred sect. Seeing the divine emperor stare at her, Yunhui wanted to dig a hole in the ground. In order to flee back to the immortal goddess sacred sect quickly, she used a transmission rune, but there were so many divine emperors gathered here. Ji Sini saw Yunhui's predicament, but didn't ask her about it. She yelled, "Trap the immortal goddess peak," and kill Yunhui, just realized that there was trouble at the sect. Before she could ask, a divine emperor, she was close to sound transmission to her, a man charged into our sect. It said he's Xiaoyan's Tao partner. This person had killed Heian already, and is now on the immortal goddess peak. Then, she even showed Yi Mo's looks to Yunhui. It's him. Yunhui dazed a moment and charged at the immortal goddess peak like mad. She was heavily injured by Yi Mo, and then a half-divine stole her virginity. Now that Emo was here, how could she let him go? Seeing this, the other divine emperors chased over too. Emo charged out of the peak hurriedly. Xiaoyan wasn't here, and the person who most likely took her away was Ji Shi, or the sect leader. As soon as Emo charged out of the residence of the Saint on the peak, he felt a sliver of familiar qi instantly. Emo realized that qi was the necklace he made for Xiaoyan. It was a long time ago, but it was still something he made. Emo rejoiced like mad. If the necklace was here, it meant that Xiaoyan was here. He charged in here too desperately and didn't notice this qi. These immortal goddess sacred sect people were indeed cunning. They had Xiaoyan outside the peak restriction, a blind spot of his search. Yemo's spirit sense didn't ravage here, as he saw more than 10 divine emperor charge up. The leading one was Yunhui, but she was now Dao molding divine emperor. Yunhui's heart was filled with hatred, but when she saw Yemo hack Zisu over, she realized she was far from a match for Yemo. Much lesser power had dropped to Dao molding divine emperor now. Yemo's divine emperor domain expanded out like crazy. A purple lightning shot out, bringing out 100 kilometers of purple ray lethal force. Yunhui was defenseless. She didn't even have time to release the 108 wind fire sand, and was completely covered by the purple sword ray. Death loomed over her. She had completely lost the will to defend. She looked dazedly as the purple ray sliced across the heaven. At the last moment, she was actually thinking about the man who pressed her under him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. There was clear bone cracking sound, but Yemo didn't even look at it. Yemo, stop. Mu Xiaoyan is taken by the great sun god mountain people. Why don't you go get her? If you keep staying here, do you still want her to live? Ji, she said quickly. This was what the immortal goddess sacred sect planned already. A few magic artifact lights struck the two great primordial god runes, squeezing it even more, but it didn't seem as scary as before. Ji Sini finally eased up a bit. Her figure distorted slightly. Splurge. Another two blood light flashed out, but this time it wasn't just Yemo's blood. One of it was Ji Sini's blood. Half of her body was hacked off by the two great primordial god rune. Yemo raised his hand and grabbed out a soul lamp from that half of the body. She barely stopped the second rune with her cloth, but the cloth dimmed down due to that rune. The second blood light came from Yemo Ji. She's 9 lotus stands sliced through Yemo's shoulder. Even though Yemo was a mortal god body and the lotus stand was blocked by the 36 orbs once, Yemo's arm was still sliced open. Due to him being immortal goddess peak stage, his arm didn't break. This all happened in the blink of an eye. The moment Yemo grabbed the soul lamp, 2 more beams shot at his chest. Yemo knew that if he stayed here, he would await death. No matter how strong he was no match for this many people. When I kill the great sun god mountain people and save Xiaoyan, I will come back for you all. Yemo took the 36 lightning orbs and instant transmissioned away. Master, Jishi immediately came to Ji Sini, helping her connect her body while sending a few pills into her mouth. A few people were going to hunt Yemo, but Ji Sini said no one chase after this person. Those few divine emperors immediately woke up. Yemo was going to hunt the great sun god mountain people. Even if Yemo wasn't heavily injured, it was suicide. Even if Yemo didn't die, killing the great sun god mountain people was only good for the immortal goddess sacred sect. The divine emperors glanced at Ji Shi in respect. Ji Shi sent the messenger flying sword clearly to let the great sun god mountain people leave first. Wang Nanshuang and Lan Qilan looked at the bloody ground and was speechless. This was a battle where both sides were heavily injured. Yemo wouldn't be able to recover if he didn't have top god spirit items. The immortal goddess sacred sect lost a Tao nourishment divine emperor, and even the sect leader was almost killed. Ji Sini's body was connected, but it was now probably impossible for her to reach Tao essence divine emperor. threw that Mu Xiaoyan into the depth of the prison door mountain. One Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor said, "That certain death, I think we might as well give her to the great Sun God Mountain. Regardless if Yimo lives or not, let him go to the great Sun God Mountain to find his Tao partner." Another Tao Molding Divine Emperor said. Jisini said slowly, "Mu Xiaoyan is dead for sure. When Yimo chases out, send her to the great Sun God Mountain." Lan Qilan opened her mouth and found that she couldn't say anything. She didn't know whether to help Mu Xiaoyan or agree to the sect leader. "Lan Qilan, you're quite amazing. You were locked up at the prison door mountain. How can you still appear here? When Yimo killed our divine emperor, what did you do?" The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor sneered. Lan Qilan went up and bowed to Jisini. "Please punish me, sect leader. My sins are great." Martial Sister Qilan didn't come out herself. Yimo forcefully cut open her chains. Wang Nanshuang said coldly. Jisini glanced at Wang Nanshuang and said to Lan Qilan, "Leave. From today on, you're no longer a member of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect." Lan Qilan's face went pale, but she didn't rebuke. The Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect was the #1 sect in the Divine Tao realm, but now she was kicked out. "Leave, let's go to the main palace and discuss things." As soon as Yimo leaves the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, close the sect formation. Jisini said. Those divine emperors close to Lan Qilan shook, but no one dared to say a thing. "Master, I'll go with you." Luo Biua heard this and said immediately. Lan Qilan sighed and nodded, "Okay, let's leave together." No one knew that Yimo didn't chase out. Instead, he came to the prison door mountain and was here to recover. Jishi tried to trick him to fight the Great Sun God Mountain, but he wasn't dumb. He wasn't going to let Great Sun God Mountain go for wanting to sacrifice Mu Xiaoyan, but now he was certain Mu Xiaoyan was still at the Immortal Goddess Peak. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2099, Take Away Xiaoyan. Chapter 2099, Take Away Xiaoyan. In a distant corner at the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, a white-haired woman sat on a dark stone cushion with a sad face. This white-faced woman was the Tao Essence Divine Emperor Jisini. Asked for help, but her body below her knees had disappeared. Even her upper body lost an arm. If it wasn't to give the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect a sliver of hope, she would have went into some sorrow already. "Perhaps I should really go?" After a while, the white-haired woman murmured. Whether it was the great sun god, mountain divine emperor being cocky at the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, or what Yimo did, nothing could be hidden from her, but there was nothing she could do. Everyone knew that there was Tao Essence Divine Emperor at the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, but no one knew that this Tao Essence Divine Emperor was a being that couldn't even fight. Yimo's injuries were far from recovered, but he snuck into the Immortal Goddess Peak. All tough, he was still heavily injured. The Chaos Tree kept healing him. He rushed back so quickly because he knew he had to take Xiaoyan away quickly, or he might never find her again. Yimo had seen the foundation of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. There was a Tao Essence Divine Emperor in the dark, and these Divine Emperors. Yimo knew that when the Divine Emperors gained up on him, not many actually dealt killing blows to him. It was just Jisini and a few Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, where he wouldn't be able to escape at all. They only attacked with full power after he cut half of Jisini's body. One could see that Yunhui wasn't really liked in the sect. He killed her, but not many people hated him. Those Divine Emperors attacked only when he heavily injured Jisini. She only attacked after that too. The Immortal Goddess Peak had no one to guard now, and Yimo easily came to the place of the battle again. He let out his spirit sense, and in just a few seconds, he found that sliver of familiarity. Yimo found an ordinary stone, but it was actually a natural dimension. There was also a natural stealth formation on it. If it wasn't that Yimo sensed the chi from the necklace he made, he wouldn't be able to find this stone. Yemo didn't use spirit sense blades to cut open this stone, but just took out a few formation flags. Then, a huge black door appeared before Yemo. Yemo went in and found a stone bed inside. Mu Xiaoyan slept on the bed with a frown. Clearly, her senses were sealed. Yemo looked at Mu Xiaoyan, who was separated from him since the small world, and felt his nose go sour. He stepped over and carried Mu Xiaoyan. "Xiaoyan, I'm here." Yemo's heart was complicated. Even with his Dao vindication power, he couldn't calm his heart. Su Su, Qing Xue, Jing Wen, and Yangzhu all had his help for cultivation. Mu Xiaoyan was the only one he didn't help at all. At most, he gave her a primordial chaos chant. Yemo could even imagine how much torture and longing Mu Xiaoyan went through to come from the cultivation realm to the immortal realm, and then the divine Dao realm. He knew that in Mu Xiaoyan's world, he was her world. "Xiaoyan, stay with me from now on. Let's go back with Jingwen, Su Su, Qing Xue, and Yangzhu. Let's never be separated again." Yemo murmured. Xiaoyan's frown gradually eased up. Yemo didn't remove her restriction and just put her in the Golden Page world. To him, he had to leave the immortal goddess sacred sect quickly. After finding Xiaoyan, half of his hatred towards the immortal goddess sacred sect was gone. Yemo left this stone dimension and put away his formation flags before dashing towards the exit of the immortal goddess sacred sect. In the main palace of the immortal goddess sacred sect, all the divine emperors were gathered here. There was actually 31 people. In a place desolate of God's spirit, chi, and resources, a sect actually had 31 Dao vindication divine emperors. This was very amazing. At the main palace, the place seemed dejected. It wasn't that their power was weakened, but their spirit. Yemo ravaged the sect, but only killed a Dao molding divine emperor and a Dao nourishment divine emperor. This was nothing important to the immortal goddess sacred sect. But the immortal goddess sacred sect's belief was separated today. Their belief was broken. They were symbolic of the divine Dao realm, but now they were confused and bewildered by the things they did. Read the next chapter on our VIP novel. Yemo has left the sect. Yueha opened the sect formation and sealed the sect. Jisini was still extremely weak. When Yemo left the sect, he didn't stealth himself at all. "Sect leader, we've invited many divine emperors to visit our saint prayer ceremony. If we seal the sect, then one Dao nourishment divine emperor said." Jisini sighed and said slowly, "Go explain to them that the great sun god mountain that had hid for countless years suddenly emerged. They want to control the entire divine Dao realm. The immortal goddess sacred sect didn't allow them, and they used this ceremony to kill our saint and a few divine emperors. Everyone immediately realized that with this, any divine emperor would side with the immortal goddess sacred sect. Perhaps people would join up to attack the great sun god mountain immediately, or rally to them to attack the great sun god mountain. If they want to attack the great sun god mountain and wants us to join, we, the Dao nourishment divine emperor, asked. Jisini said, "The great sun god mountain has nefarious intentions, and our sect is symbolic of the divine Dao realm. How can we fall behind on such matter?" "I understand." This Dao nourishment divine emperor immediately dashed away. The palace fell into silence. There was a sliver of pain in Wang Nanshuang's eyes. She really didn't want to trick those ordinary divine emperors. Even if they attacked the great sun god mountain, it would be suicide. They would at most use up some of great sun god mountain's power. Jisini clearly didn't want the sect to take the great sun god mountain head on. "Linyu, I just you to tell that great sun god mountain Dao actualization divine emperor that our sect will immediately send the saint over. Why did you let him take an immortal goddess?" Jishi frowned at another Dao nourishment divine emperor. Jisini interrupted Jishi. "This has nothing to do with Linyu. I'll let Linyu give Banyan over. If we don't give them a saint, how can the great sun god mountain leave? If he doesn't leave, how will Yemo chase him?" "Master, you gave the Saint Qing's necklace, the Zhu Sinew, to the great sun god mountains?" Jishi asked shakily. "If one didn't stay on the immortal goddess peak she wouldn't have the Saint Chi. The only thing with a sliver of Saint Chi was the Saint Ching's necklace. Now that the sect leader said giving a saint to the great sun god mountain, clearly, she gave the Zhu sinew away. Ji Sini sighed, "This is a moment of life or death for our sect. I've let Rurong chase over. If the great sun god, mountain, Tao, actualization, divine, emperor fights with Yimo, it would be fine. If Yimo wins, Rurong will kill Yimo and take back the Zhu sinew. If the great sun god mountain person wins, Rurong will still kill that person and take it back." Yimo had released the space-time boat and left the range of the immortal goddess sacred sect. Half a day later, Yimo was planning to stop at a place and went to Golden Page World to wake Mu Xiaoyan up when a powerful spirit sense suddenly scanned over and fell on Yimo for a while before suddenly moving over. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2100 Kill Another Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Chapter 2100 Kill Another Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Yimo stopped now. He had been out of the immortal goddess sacred sect for more than half a day, so his injuries had pretty much recovered. To him, as long as his essence, spirit, and sea of consciousness weren't heavily injured, he could recover extremely quickly. Not bad. If I came and you didn't stop, then it wouldn't be good. This Tao Actualization Divine Emperor looked at Yimo and said. The condescension on his eyes were clear. Yimo asked calmly, "What do you want with me?" Yimo knew who this person was. This Tao Actualization Divine Emperor had an immortal goddess who had similar chi to Ji Shi. This immortal goddess was just an immortal emperor, and her eyes seemed sad. Without needing to ask, Yimo knew this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor was from Great Sun God Mountain. If he trusted Ji Shi that the Great Sun God Mountain people took Xiaoyan, then he definitely wouldn't be able to save Xiaoyan now. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor's tone became a little cold. "I'm the elder of the Great Sun God Mountain. I think you're not bad. If you're willing, I can take you to join the Great Sun God Mountain." The Great Sun God Mountain was about to go to war with the immortal goddess sacred sect. It was good to take in as much immortal emperor pawns like Yimo as possible. "Not interested," Yimo said calmly. He was ready to attack. "Our Great Sun God Mountain is about to become the #1 sect of the Divine Tao Realm, and we will repair the Divine Tao Realm. It's your fortune to join the Great Sun God Mountain. When the Divine Tao Realm is repaired, you'll get a sliver of the fortune and karma. You can even reach Tao Vindication," the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor said seriously. "Piss off." Yimo couldn't be bothered talking to this guy anymore. At the same time, he released Zissou. Hearing this, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor was furious, but he was even more furious that Yimo attacked first. Yimo Zissou had turned into a 100 kilometers long purple dragon that smashed down. The immortal goddess was swept by Yimo's Divine Emperor domain and flew back tens of kilometers. At the same time, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor released a huge spear. There were fire dragons circulating around the spear that melted everything nearby immediately. Yimo sneered. "Talk about playing with fire." Rumble. The purple dragon smashed with the black flame dragon that tore their domains to pieces. The purple dragon crippled, but so was the flame dragon. "You're not an immortal emperor," the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor realized. Yimo definitely wasn't an immortal emperor. How could an immortal emperor take the blow of a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor? Even if you're not an immortal emperor, you have to die today. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor was furious. Seeing Yimo Zissou could stop his black flame spear, he was interested. Plus, Yimo's flying magic artifact wasn't bad too. The spear swept out a 30 kilometers long flame dragon that completely swept the nearby space. The flame dragon swirled in the air, activating a dominating force that was about to burn everything nearby. If it was some other time, Yemo would definitely use 5-stack wave kill to fight with this person, but now he didn't have the mood. Yemo went forward a step and waved out tens of hand signs. God art, ice space. The countless flame dragon seemed to have been frozen. When the space cracked, the flame dragons were completely torn. Cracks sounded non-stop in the space, and frozen flame pieces fell down. The endless heat wave disappeared. What remained was terrifying frost. What god art is this? The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor looked at this in disbelief. Yemo waved out another god art. The sky didn't seem as cold before. The space seemed to slow down before eventually pausing. Not good, this was Time Law god art. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor was finally shook. He didn't expect a random immortal emperor he saw here master Time Law and had such terrifying god art. At this moment, his soul almost left his body due to shock. He forcefully burned his essence chi and broke free from Yemo's instant second god art. As soon as they clashed, he had an extreme lower hand. He didn't dare to think of Yemo as an insect anymore. The black fire spear whined, and before he could attack Yemo again, 2 distorted runes came before him. Great Primordial God Rune. Seeing these 2 runes, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor's eyes became red. He punched out Eagle Emperor Fist. This was his killing blow. Ripples formed in space with this punch. This punch bound this entire space, but then brought this bound space and smashed onto the 2 great Primordial God runes. Rumble, crack, crack. This fist force smashed on the first rune, and this bound space dissipated in the distorted Great Primordial God rune. The second Great Primordial God rune tore the fist to pieces and extended down. In the blink of an eye, it reached down into his arm and then shoulder. Crack! In an explosion, half the body of this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor exploded. This Tao Actualization Divine Emperor was scared soulless and didn't dare to keep fighting Yemo. He dashed away quickly. Yemo sneered, and the golden bow of divine extermination appeared in his hands. He flung out 2 golden arrows. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor just flew out 10,000 kilometers and was locked on by this lethal force. He didn't dare to move a step, as he knew all the life force around him had been taken away. Shoo shoo. These 2 golden rays instantly came behind the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor and tore open his Divine Emperor domain. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor could only use his remaining hand to grab an arrow. The only person Yemo had seen who could stop the golden bone arrow was the Truth Divine Emperor. Yemo was still shocked even now. Truth Divine Emperor was so much stronger than ordinary Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, and that was him without any magic artifact. The golden bone arrow blasted the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor's hands. The next moment, the second arrow came and turned this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor to pieces. Yemo took the 2 golden bone arrows and a storage ring and stared at a dashing Tao Actualization Divine Emperor woman, but didn't chase her. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2101, Xiaoyan Waking Up. Chapter 2101, Xiaoyan Waking Up. Yemo didn't need to chase to know that woman was the fisherman the immortal goddess Sacred Sect sent. Seeing he wasn't easy to mess with, she left. He didn't have the time and power to deal with the immortal goddess Sacred Sect now, but eventually, he would erase that sect. That immortal emperor, immortal goddess came back to her senses, and a little life force appeared in her eyes. She was shocked how an immortal emperor dared to be rude to a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, but when the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor finally died, she realized why. Immortal Goddess, Sacred Sect Banyan Gri Qianbei, thank you for saving my life. This immortal goddess quickly said. Yemo smiled. I'm not saving you. I have no good impression of the immortal goddess Sacred Sect. How can I save you? You can say you're just a bit lucky. This Banyan didn't argue and said, is Qianbei, Saint Xiaoyun's Tao partner Yimo? I am, Yimo said calmly. Banyan took off the zhu sinew from her neck and gave it to Yimo. This is a sacred object that the Saint Qing used to wear. Please give this to Xiaoyun, she's the saint. Only she can wear this. Yimo took it and immediately knew this thing wasn't ordinary. It had a faint Tao wave qi and this sacred and holy qi. What are you going to do when you go back? Yimo subconsciously asked. Banyan laughed. The sect is no longer the sect from before. I'm no longer an immortal goddess. I'm going. Farewell, Qianbei. Then Banyan turned to leave. Clearly, she wasn't planning on going back to the immortal goddess sacred sect. What the sect did hurt her respect towards the sect. Wait, Yimo stopped her and gave the storage ring he robbed over. You can have this. Hope you reach Tao vindication soon. Banyan dazed and quickly said, Qianbei, this is too precious. Wanbei can't take it. She saw with her own eyes Yimo take this storage ring from the great sun, god, mountain Tao, artifact, divine emperor peak. Yimo gave the storage ring to her and said, you deserve this. Good luck. Then Yimo disappeared, leaving behind a dazed Banyan. After a while, Banyan released her flying magic artifact and disappeared too. Yimo knew this zhu sinew was precious. 100 times more precious than the storage ring he gave over. In an ordinary valley, 1,000,000 km from the immortal goddess sacred sect, Yimo entered the golden page world again. Mu Xiaoyan was still asleep. Yimo took out the soul lamp. Yimo was furious seeing this soul lamp again. Clearly, it didn't need one soul to be lit, just a sliver of spirit what was needed. That bastard sect leader took half Xiaoyun's soul. Even if he killed her, Yimo couldn't vent his hate. The next moment, Yimo grabbed that soul and sent it into Xiaoyun's essence spirit. With this, her essence spirit immediately became more real. Yimo was about to crush the soul map, but he found that even if he used force, he couldn't crush it. Yimo was very annoyed and threw the soul lamp on a blue like morning sky. Little blue, melt this lamp and get ready to forge my Zisu. Little blue made an excited sound. Yimo was a restriction and formation master, so the restrictions on Mu Xiaoyan couldn't trouble him. In a short time, Yimo completely removed her restrictions. Mu Xiaoyan felt this steadiness. It was as though something missing from her came back. Her face was brighter than before and her consciousness clearer. When she opened her eyes and saw Yimo appear before her. However, her reaction wasn't surprise and joy. Instead, her eyes went red. If I knew earlier than dying would let me see you, I would have long come. Mu Xiaoyan reached out her hand and wanted to touch Yimo's face. Her heart was filled with agony. She could die, but she didn't want Yimo to die. She had a sliver of hope, and that was Yimo didn't die in the life-crippling river. But now that she saw Yimo, clearly it was because Yimo died. She killed herself. Yimo immediately realized what she meant. She definitely tried to suicide, but was sealed by Ji Shi. Luckily, Ji Shi did that, or Xiaoyan would have really died. Yimo sat next to her and embraced her. Xiaoyan, don't worry, we're not dead. I took you out of the immortal goddess sacred sect. You'll be fine from now on. Mu Xiaoyan's hand suddenly stopped. She used her spirit sense and immediately realized that she really didn't die. Not only that, her soul became whole again. Husband, Mu Xiaoyan said shakily, not daring to believe this was real. We're really not dead? She realized this was reality. Neither of them were dead. This inexpressible joy in her heart made her unable to speak. Whimper. Mu Xiaoyan could no longer control the joy and excitement in her heart. She just hugged Yimo and completely forgot about everything else. After a long while, Mu Xiaoyan calmed down and kept asking if Yimo was hurt or threatened by the immortal goddess sacred sect. After Yimo said he and her master were fine, she finally calmed down and began to recount her story ever since she was forced by Elder Feng of Ice Lake. Mu Xiaoyan, who rarely spoke, finally spoke her many years of story. Time flows slowly like this. Most of the time, it was Mu Xiaoyan speaking and Yimo listening. Hearing this, Yimo felt for the first time that life was full even when he wasn't cultivating. Great Sun, God Mountain. Although they weren't very famous in the divine Tao realm these years, it didn't mean that their power wasn't strong. When their sect formation opened, instant second force was no weaker than the immortal goddess sacred sect. In some places, it even surpassed the immortal goddess sacred sect. The immortal goddess sacred sect dares to kill our great sun, God Mountain, Tao, actualization, divine emperor. In the main palace of the great sun, God Mountain, an elder rose up. At the same time, the atmosphere in the immortal goddess sacred sect was dense. When Yemo didn't have conflict with the great sun, God Mountain, they tried everything for the two to fight, but now that Yemo really killed the Tao actualization divine emperor of the great sun, God Mountain, the immortal goddess sacred sect fell silent. Rurong, recount precisely how Yemo killed great sun, God Mountain, Tao actualization divine emperor Yangpa. Are you certain he used golden bow of divine extermination? Ji Sini said slowly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.